Father, now he has wrote again another book, even today as it's being launched at this place. Lord, we ask of your favor that you may bless the book, that the sales may increase, my Father, and that it may impact knowledge unto the readers, my Lord. I ask you that all the participants in this place, you may bless them, you may help them, you may remember each one of them, my Father. Lord, even as we begin this session, may you be with us and may you be in our midst, my Father. We thank you and we bless you, for it is in the mighty name of your Son, Jesus, Lord, we pray thanksgiving. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Bishop, for that. So, it takes a village to raise a child. They say that, but it also takes a whole village of partners to put an event like this together. So I'd like to just recognize the partners that have made this event possible today. And I'll start with Evolution and Style. And I can see one of the directors, Ravi Panara, is here. I'll give him a chance to speak in a few. Yes. And I'd also like to recognize Rock. Hi, Maureen. Thank you. And also Jotun. You can see them with their T-shirts all over the place. Thank you to all of you. And Jaguar World. When you think of Jaguar, you think of the car. But then Jaguar World, if you have already taken the tour there, you will see you can aspire to better things in life. Have you seen those sanitary wear? It's beautiful. It's beautiful there. And if you haven't taken that tour, I hope you will do so by the end of this event. So without further ado, I'd like to hand over to Mr. Ravi. He is hosting us in this beautiful place, in their beautiful showroom. Please come and speak to us and give us a few words as we start this event. Please, let's put a round of applause for Mr. Ravi.
Good afternoon and good evening, everyone. Just a small correction. I'm Ravi Panara, the Business Development Manager. We have a same name sharing. One of our directors, Ravi Vishram, shares the same name. So sorry for that. So, dear respected dignitaries, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's a true honor to be here with such a distinguished group of leaders and visionaries. With all protocols observed, it's my great pleasure to welcome you all at Evolution and Style for Mr. Nashon Okowa's book launch. I am honored to host you today as we come together to celebrate collaboration, innovation, and the shared journey that defines today's event. Firstly, a heartfelt appreciation to each and every one of you for being here, colleagues, partners, stakeholders, and guests. Your presence reflects the strength of our professional community and the commitment we share to excellence and progress that has led to the success of hosting this event. I'd like to extend my sincere appreciation to Mr. Nashon and the organizer for selecting this remarkable venue. It's a setting that not only reflects the importance of our gathering, but also provides the perfect environment for meaningful dialogue and opportunities. Let's take this time to share ideas and foster the relationships that power our success, whether you've been with us for years or you're joining us for the first time. Know that you're an essential part of this journey. As you must have seen, under the umbrella of Evolution and Style, we have partnered with world-renowned brands such as Jaguar, Jotun, and Dormakaba. I'm sure you must have walked around to see the kind of products that are on the display. So I'll give you a small history about the world-renowned brands that we house at Evolution in Style. Jacquard is a leading manufacturer of premium bathrooms and lighting solutions. Founded in the year 1960, the company has grown into a global brand with a presence of over 65 plus countries, known for its quality and innovation and design. Jacquard offers a wide range of products, including faucets, showers, sanitary ware, wellness products, and a wide range of lighting solutions in every sector of the construction industry. Jacquard Group emphasizes on sustainable practices, confidently offering a 10-year warranty on each product and energy-efficient technologies known as the Go Green concept. Jotun is a multinational company based in Norway that specializes in decorative paints, marine coatings, and powder coatings, and so on. Established in the year 1926, Jotun has grown into one of the world's leading manufacturers in its field, operating in more than 100 countries with over 60 companies and 39 production facilities. My colleague Anthony will shed more light on this. Dormakaba is a German company founded in the year 1862, known for its high-quality door technology systems, including door closures, automatic doors, glass fittings, and movable walls. It is one of the global companies in access control and security solutions. Dormakaba continues to be recognized for precision, engineering, safety, and innovation in building access systems. Without wasting much time, we have an exciting agenda lined up today. I encourage you to participate fully, engage with one another, and enjoy every moment of this event. Thank you once again for being here, and let us make this event more memorable and inspiring. Come and let's get started. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Ravi. Quite an array there. And next, I'd like to invite Anthony from Jotun to tell us a little bit more about that partnership and what they are doing in the industry. Welcome. A round of applause, please.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to welcome all of you. As you've heard, my name is Anthony Mwema from Jotun Kenya Limited. I'm a sales executive, and I would like to first and foremost take this opportunity to thank our good friend Nashon for this good and great opportunity in your book launch. I'd also like to thank our partners, who is Evolution and Style, for also making this happen. Thank you, Ravi, for the great introduction. And as Ravi has mentioned, Jotun is one of the leading paint manufacturers globally. We've been in the industry, or we've been in the market for the last 99 years. So it started in the year 1926 from Norway in a town called Sandfjord. And we have measured in 4 main segments. We offer decorative paint solutions. We offer powder coating solutions. We offer protective coatings. And also we offer marine coatings. So we have 4 main segments. And in the building industry, we offer what is called as a single source solution. So out of the 4, except the marine, we offer powder, protective, and decorative paints. So that offers a single source solution. And if you look around, you'll see banners. So we are very proud as one of the global giants to offer, or rather offer our solutions to 14 out of the 20 tallest buildings or skyscrapers globally. Most notably is the tallest building, which is Burj Khalifa, stands at 828 meters high. So we gave the whole solution, that is decorative paints, powder, and protective. So protective also covers your floor solutions, that is epoxy. In Kenya, we've been in the market for the last 10 years. Jotun Kenya opened or started in 2015. And through our partnerships and able partnerships like what we have with Evolution and Style, we've grown. It's a steady and gradual growth, and we are able to offer solutions. We have very many references. Most notable is Villa Rosa Kempinski, which we are already at the moment maintaining using our decorative paints. So I'd really urge and welcome every one of you during this event to also visit our showroom. It's on the first floor. So we'll be able to take you around what we offer in more depth, because in the interest of time and the program, then we'll be able to interact more, and I'll be sure to assist with any solutions you'd be interested in. So with this, thank you, and I'm looking forward to a good book launch and evening. Thanks.
Thanks for that. How many organizations can boast 99 years of being in the industry and having a role in 14 of some of the most iconic buildings, including the Burj Khalifa? Good job, Jotun. Now, next, I want to introduce the next partner that has made this event possible. And I want to invite onto stage Maureen. Maureen is from Fosroc. And Fosroc, in case you don't know, is a leading manufacturer and supplier of high-performance chemicals for the construction industry. Maureen, kindly come on stage and tell us a little bit more about Fosroc. Please, let's clap for her as she comes on stage.
Good evening. Hey. How's everyone? I hope the refreshments have made us happy. First, I would just like to start by congratulating Nashon. Nashon has been a long-term friend. We've moved with him. I've moved around in the construction sector in so many companies, and we've worked together in a lot. So congratulations on your fourth book, Nashon. I hope you'll write a fifth one. And I'll quickly just jump to telling you guys who Fosroc is. Fosroc is a manufacturer in construction chemicals. We do everything that you think about in construction chemicals. That means your admixtures. It means your protective coatings, like Jotun has just mentioned. We're in that space together. And part of those 14 buildings that they've done, we've also done Burj Khalifa with them also. All construction chemicals in Burj Khalifa have been done by Fosroc. Apart from that, we do epoxy, all your industrial flooring solutions, you come to us. We do joint sealants, and all, just when you think construction chemicals, think Fosroc. So I know you are wondering why we are not part of the Evolution and Styles group. I even asked myself the same question when I came here. But as you heard our MC say, when you did your work inside the Evolution and Style showroom, everything that you saw there was beautiful, right? So construction chemicals are not beautiful. That's why we are not in the Evolution Style showroom. But once they make space for construction chemicals, we'll also bring ourselves there to be able to work together, Mr. Ravi. Yeah. So apart from that, apart from me saying that we're 85 years old in the market and we have global presence in 70 countries. So if you think any other country, we are there. We have our heritage in the UK, but we were recently bought by a company that has 360 years experience in this market. You can only imagine how much innovations we have done to be able to be recognizable and sustainable and still be used in over 360 years. So now Fosroc is under the umbrella of Saint-Gobain. So we bring you a whole basket of products, and I have my team from the Saint-Gobain team. Please come. They can be able to just tell you, just introduce themselves and say the products that they are offering. But just to give you a brief, if you're looking for glass, you can come to us. If you're looking for adhesives, you can come to us. The basket is very, 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 very big. So again, we are a one-stop shop for you with 360 years experience, so you can always bank on us.
Good evening. First off is to congratulate Nashon. Sorry, my voice is a little bit husky. I'm under the weather. I'm Eston, Sales Executive, St. Gobain Glass. Like my colleague has said, we have over 360 years of experience doing innovations. Yes, we offer a wide range of products, high performance glass, fast moving glass. Yes, thank you.
Hi everyone. My name is Christian Ligondo. I work with Sangoba, Kenya. Okay, Sangoba initially used to import things into Kenya from different countries, but now we have a factory set up here. We are doing local production of different products. We as Sangoba always say the only thing we don't sell is furniture. So from excavation now, Fosrock comes in and this Criso, all the way to your finishes, you will get Sangoba, then to glass. So the only thing we don't sell is furniture. So we are very happy to be associated with you, Nashon, and I know you'll help us walk the journey of construction. Thank you.
Ravi, maybe very soon we'll introduce furniture so that you create space for us. Thank you. Yeah. So again, now going to the book that is being launched today, we are eliminating project delays and cost overruns. That's where we come in as construction chemicals. When you go to admixtures, they actually lead to you using very limited cement and water, and actually they actually make your project run faster. So it means you're even fastening up your project. You eliminate delays in the project. So we are very relevant to this book that Nashon has written. I know he's pointed out Sangoba and Fosrock in some pages. Please read it. Thank you so much for your time and enjoy the launch.
Thank you, Maureen. How many people can say that they have won the confidence of key industry players? That's what Nashon is doing, and it just tells you what impact it's making in the built environment. Good job, Nashon, there. Now, I'd like to shout out some of our guests who are already here. Thank you for coming through. And one of them is QS Patience Mulondo. Please just wave. Where are you? Hi. Welcome. We appreciate your support. I'd also like to shout out QS James Munene, who is the former president of the IQSK, Institute of Quantity Surveyors of Kenya. Thank you for being here. Vanessa Okello. Hi there. I saw you taking pictures in the showroom. And by the way, please feel free to take those beautiful pictures. And this is a networking event. We are launching a book, but we want to get to know each other a little bit better. So take those pictures and you can put it on your LinkedIn, on your Instagram, whatever your social media platform of choice is. And hashtag Nashon Okowa book launch. Please let's get to know each other. This is a networking event. Paulini Basha, where are you as well? Thank you to all of you who are here. Now, I'd like us to go straight into a panel discussion, and we want to talk about the state of the construction industry and the built environment. And I would like to invite our panelists onto the stage, and I'll start with QS Mutinda Mutoko, who is the president of the Institute of Quantity Surveyors of Kenya. Please give him a round of applause as he makes his way here. Next on stage, I'd like to invite Ephraim Kakui, who is the chairman of the Association of Construction Managers of Kenya. Welcome onto stage. We have key heavy hitters here who are going to be participating in our conversation. And our moderator of this session, Irene Wamoyo. Please come onto stage. I'm sure we're going to have a very thrilling discussion ahead on the state of the built environment. Welcome to you all. Let's just get you set up. And as we do that, as everybody is getting set up here, I want to hear from you all, because this is an engaging selection. What is one key thing you want to leave once you've left this book launch today? And what is one key thing that you've learned from the book, Eliminating Project Delays and Cost Overruns. I'm going to give two people a chance to do that as we get started here. Who is going to volunteer? I know we can all talk. Please, can I have a microphone here? The lady in black, yes, 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 yes. We're here to network. So please just say your name and what you got out of this book, Eliminating Project Delays and Cost Overruns. Just in 1 minute, briefly, before we start this discussion.
Okay, I see you signal me out. Thank you so much. My name is Ongoe Mwangi. I'm the founder of Green Biophilic Living, and I'm really excited to be here. Nashon Okowa is a very good friend of ours. I'm here with my team. I'm an interior designer. And delays in projects is always a pain all the time. And I'm really happy that Mr. Nashon got to actually giving us his intelligence in how to go about this, because it really affects so much parts of the project in terms of money, in terms of even the people who are involved in the project. So I'm really happy that we get to discuss that, even from panel conversations to the book itself. And I believe it's gonna be a great learning experience. And yes, I'm looking forward to networking and interacting.
Thank you so much for that. I will pick one more person on this table just to tell us what you're expecting from this panel discussion and from the book. Please, can I have a mic here? Just briefly before we start the conversation. I want it to be as interactive as possible. Yes, I can see you even putting that book up there. Yes, put it. Where's the cameraman? Take that photo. Yes, we are. Please, it's being streamed.
So I'm Cecilia, and Nashon is a friend to my husband. I'm excited to get to read about this book because we have just started to think about building a house or buying a house, and this will help us with the decision making.
Thank you for that. And if you've read the book, there's a part where he talks about not wanting to work with couples. But I'll leave that for our conversation later. World War III, we don't want that. But Irene, over to you. Please take over this conversation and let's have a conversation on the built environment.
Thank you, and karibuni sana. I'm hoping that you can see us from wherever you're seated. Good evening. I trust we're doing well. This is a mammoth of a topic. Across any jurisdiction, anywhere that construction happens, which is across the entire world, this is a problem. And we congratulate Nashon for tackling this topic. When we look at cost overruns, delays and budget overruns, there is a problem. In fact, it is said only about 35% of projects globally are completed within budget and on time. Those are horrible statistics for an industry that everybody relies on. So I'll allow my panelists to introduce themselves, and then I will introduce myself, and then we can continue.
Good afternoon. My name is Mutinda Mutuku. I am a quant surveyor by practice. By profession and in practice, private practice. I am also the president of the Institute of Quant Surveyors of Kenya. And since we are discussing construction, I can also declare material facts that I am a board member at the National Construction Authority. But don't stone me yet.
Karibu sana.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ephraim Kakui. I'm a construction project manager, also by training and by practice. And currently, I'm the chairman of the Association of Construction Managers of Kenya. And I'm glad to be here as we discuss this great topic on eliminating project delays and cost overruns. Thank you.
And I'm Irene Wamoyo. I'll be moderating this session. I'm a construction manager by profession. and I am also an arbitrator. Thank you. So, why are we struggling? Why aren't we delivering projects in time and on budget? What's our problem? QS Mutinda.
Like you said, it's a mammoth of a topic. I guess there's myriad of reasons why we are not achieving 100% delivery of projects on cost and on time. I can first start with the excuses, and then I can go to the other. The excuse is that construction is a very complex affair. That by the time you decide to do this building from ground up, and it's just ground, there's a lot of factors that may not be visible to the human eye. But again, moving away from excuses, we are professionals, and that's why we are in that space, to be able to deal with things, and because we are trained to foresee most of them and deal with them. But having said that, I think a lot of it is just human. Because if you compare, for instance, and this will not sound good from our local contractors, the little statistics that is known about foreign contractors, a lot of them have made quite an attempt at finishing their projects on time. What we not know whether they do them on budget, because quite a number of them do not engage as professionals, and especially the quantity surveyors. But for our local contractors and ourselves, I think it boils down to, I wouldn't say we don't have enough manpower and skills. It's just planning and scheduling. Because you have a task at hand, if you break it down and plan it properly, then you should be able to deliver it on time. Of course, that's depending on the availability of funds and on time from your client or whoever you're building for. So outside holding funds constant, I would put it to lack of proper project management. I would say that in a nutshell.
PM, why are we struggling, time-wise?
Thank you, Irene. I think I'll pick up from QS Mutinda's left, and I'll talk as a project manager. I think it narrows down to planning, as you said. You know, every project has a life cycle, from planning through, initiation through planning, execution, monitoring and control, and then handing over. So if a project is not properly planned at the initial stages, then you find that as you progress, there will be lapses here and there. I've actually scribbled through the book by Nashon, and I've noted that he has talked a lot about the aspect of planning. And planning cuts across. In project management, we talk about several knowledge areas. I know most of us know about the three constraints of project management: cost, time, and budget. And Nashon has tackled two of them. But there are about 10 knowledge areas in project management. And if all these 10 knowledge areas are not clearly tackled at the planning stage, then you'll find that you're going to struggle. There is resource management. You know, there's stakeholder management. There's procurement management. When you're planning a project and you need to deliver it on time, you need to factor in the aspect of the budget. Do you have adequate budget? Because most of the people start a project at the initial stage, and maybe they're depending on financing from an institution. They have not properly planned the projects. Actually, most of the projects that are, especially them that are financed by the massive financial institutions, you find that they struggle at some point. So one aspect of planning is you need to make sure that you have proper financial planning, so that the project, you know how the project is going to run from the beginning to the end. When you talk about time also, you talked about scheduling. You'll find that, and most of us are not involved in projects. And even at that point of tender stage, you'll find that there are some people that will prepare the program of works, which also Nashon has talked about it in depth in his book. And some people just prepare a program of works just for compliance, so they can be able to just win the tender. But when you go to the key, you review the program, find that scheduling, the tasks, the work breakdown structure is not adding up. And so those are some of the things that at the end of the day, you find that the project is struggling. Resource management, you find that even during a tender stage, most of the contractors, they'll give a list of resources, but when you go to the execution of the project, find that some of those projects or those resources are not adequate, even in equipment and all that. So there are a number of issues that affect this. And this also now got us down to that aspect of project management, which I am a project manager. And so it is the aspect of coordinating the full team, from the client team, the design team, the contracting team. I think I'll stop there for now. Thank you.
Thank you. So I've gotten the human aspects, and we're not planning properly. In a nutshell. Let's delve into costs, because you have mainly focused on time. QS here, through IQSK, you publish a schedule of rates, but we are always getting it wrong when it comes to cost. There are problems. Let's even first delve into generally before we get into the public sector. Why are we not getting it right? Why can't I ask a client, this will be worth 30 million, and not ask for a penny more? What is happening?
I have not had, thank you, Gomo. I've not had a chance to read this great book, but I will read it. But I've had excerpts of it, and one of them is that World War III. I think that's part of the reason client's brief keeps growing beyond design. That's one of the reasons that you start, but the client's vision keeps just, mutating and growing. One of the other ones, again, back to us as quantity surveyors, where quantity surveyors are involved in such projects, is case is our failure. Let me just come down to that we, I guess, maybe attention to details. We either overlook one or two things, besides the variations which would come for either ones not having been able to overseen a certain item, or failure of design, or the other one would be then growth in clients' desire of what they wanted as the building evolves. But in terms of budgeting, we should try as much as possible as quant surveyors. We cannot foresee what the client will require at what point, but try to see a lot of that. And that's why we provide a contingency sum, be able to think. And you can, and for instance, if you pick like the case that is talked about in the book, where you're probably building a residential house, where the wife automatically becomes the project manager, and with a never-ending proposals on things, and things keep evolving. We may not anticipate her full breadth of whatever she will ask for, but we can try and, scientific, or through experience perhaps, and try and provide more maybe in contingency, so that the bottom line, the budget of the project does not deviate too much from where it was. Of course, calling them to account and bringing them back online is also the other thing. And this is the one thing that as consultants, I think we failed to do, just to be firm. Yeah? In a project, we get shoved this way, that way. And in the end, the blame still comes to us. Oh, we didn't achieve this on budget. But at that point when you're finishing, you've forgotten all the other things that you've raised, that were new during the project. So I think it's an aspect we need to grow in. Maybe it's not a training item, where we can be firm as consultants. I can tell you, you asked me to, get you this table with with this kind of support, 4 legs, but you've asked me to add all these members. Then I keep telling you through the project, the discussion where you're taking it, this is what it means cost-wise. Yeah, I think I would leave it there.
Yeah, what's your take on the costs? Why aren't we on budget?
Thank you. I
said that, as Kios Mutinda also has said, there are several reasons that you find that we have some cost overruns. We need to look at it from the different projects. There are projects by, individual owners. There are those projects that are structured. There are the contractor, there are public projects. And if I get, maybe I give a case of maybe, say, projects that have gone through the proper procurement procedure, there's a tendering procedure. To some extent, you'll find that there is an aspect of, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when contractors are the tender stage, I think I keep on mentioning the tender stage because part of the planning. When you're at tender stage, you find that some contractors will tend to also give lower rates so they can be able to win the projects. And during the project execution, that have been involved in the projects, you find that there is an aspect of variations. And now when you ask them to give a quotation for variation, then now it issues the budget. If there's no proper, or if the consultants are not firm enough, then you find that there is an aspect of proper, of cost overruns. Financial appraisals or frequent reviews and preparation of financial appraisals. If that is not correctly done, you find that there is an aspect of also a project overruns. There is the aspect of the whole idea of cost overruns is there's a fixed price pro contract. There's also the one that others, but if you don't have if the consultants are not very keen on structuring the projects, if you also don't have proper change control procedures, then you find that sometimes you end up getting to cost overruns. You'll find that there's a percentage that is given for variations. I think it's about 15%. A project should not exceed the 15% of the project budget. And if we allow this to the variations to go beyond that, then you find that now there's that aspect of costs that are going up. So I think I'll stop there for now.
Asante sana. I think there is a human element that I am getting from both of you, that we are carrying the burden of why our industry is so lost when it comes to project delays and cost overruns. But we'll get into the issue of capacity soon. I want to get into public projects. The private sector, sometimes you could rein them in and show what it means if we take more time and the correlation between time and cost. But public sector, either because that is what we find out most about, or it's actually something that is plaguing the public sector, we are unable to be on time and on budget. And sometimes the decisions that are made in the public sector will really aggravate this problem. What is happening in the public sector, in your opinion? Why are we not completing projects on time and on cost? Curious.
The public sector is another animal altogether. Personally, from where I sit, from my many years of experience, I am glad I've never worked for public sector project. I am very happy. Because the reasons for public sector are so many but bottom line just boils down to the casual manner in which we treat public finances in this country. We are so casual with everything public that it is so revolting for someone who has certain values to uphold. That we start a project, it can end whenever it ends, it can end at whatever cost it ends, and it's just sad. Of course, some of us as professionals are involved. We've heard of cases of budgeted corruption. And the bigger reason is that, and also personalities, that you see this project started during someone's term. Another one comes in, it either expands or completely dies. Yeah. It either expands to accommodate them and their interest and their appetite, or it just becomes another white elephant. So for public sector, I would say we have a long way to go. I doubt there is any project in public sector. In private sector, there are projects, like you mentioned, about 35% of them that will finish on budget and on time. But in public sector, I do not think we can even get to 5%. So that's how bad it is. We have to get to a point where economic crimes in this country are taken as crimes and dealt with as crimes. And that's when we'll see an end to that. And I'm not trying to exonerate the professionals in it. It is everyone and all of us involved in that process. So it's just pure bad manners around public finances.
PM, what do you think?
Again, as you said, is that this is a big elephant. He's talked about budgeted corruption. I'll also say that there is lack of structure, even in the entire process of procuring public projects. There is no regard for professionalism, and in fact, even the professionals that are involved in the projects, they're also suppressed to a point that they may not be in a position. They have to do it because they have to do it. You look at the procurement procedure of most of these public projects. Majority of them, I think they are also political. And that's why Kios Mutinda mentioned about some projects will stall when a certain, maybe a certain political leader has left the stage, or there's discontinuity. If you look at even the aspect of devolution, or even the regimes that have been there, you'll find that there's lack of continuity in the projects that start. When you've said a specific county, a certain county, you find that there's a governor who came in, he had ideas, there could be good ideas, but because of political interest, another leader comes in, those ideas are shelved. The procurement of the contractors also. We were in another session again with the KS Mutinda and also the president of Key Architect Arabu, I see is here. And we were saying that, we were talking about the same issue of the state of the construction industry. The procurement procedure is also very skewed, I would say. Most of the contractors that will bid for these projects, they are not professional contractors, they are businessmen. And you get into a project, and then now when they subcontract most of the works. Yeah? And when the professionals go to the aspect of supervision, that's when now they find the real challenges, because you find that the contractors that have been given, they have no structure of running the projects, yet at the point of tendering, they have submitted very nice and detailed documentation. But when it comes to the actual execution of the projects, then you find that it is a totally different team that is doing that, and they have no control, because the business person is looking at the aspect of business, and the people that have been given the project to run also, they're also strained financially, even in terms of the rates. So that's a big challenge, and I think as we continue, I think we need to get to a point where we also need to just stand up and to be counted to fight for the right of the public, because this money and the funds that are used for most of these projects is public funds, and the aspect of management of public funds, I think we need to or be able to get to a point where you can be able to hold people accountable. I hope we will get there.
So what I'm hearing is that the Public Procurement and Disposal Act is not working. That is what I'm getting from both of us. But this question is huge. I understand even tackling it within one session would require probably a whole day or a week for us to look at our public sector and what it needs. So we'll shelve that. Nashon will invite us again, and we will delve into that. So do we have capacity? Do you think we have the right personnel to deal with delays and cost overruns? Will we get to a point where we say our projects are well staffed, we have capacity such that these are not matters that are prime or that are at the forefront in our industry, like other jurisdictions have been able to tackle to a given extent? We'll start with PM Kakui.
I would say in terms of professionals, we have no shortage of professionals that can be able to handle projects. Personally, I've handled a project and I've delivered below budget and also within time. And it narrows down to how you manage the entire process. You know, capacity is diverse. There's the capacity from the consulting sides. There's also capacity from the contractor side. So when you talk about the professionals, I would say that there is the capacity to manage, but also to some extent, the aspect of managing it is what may lead to delivery of project on time or not on time. And the project manager is a very key person in this, coordinating the entire process and making sure that all the stakeholders involved, they are able to deliver. In terms of the contractors, I believe that we have contractors that have capacity, but in some cases also depending on the projects and also the interest in the project, you'll find that, as I mentioned, especially for the public projects, you'd find that some contractors will keep documents showing capacity, but when we get to the actual execution, that capacity is lacking.
Ms. Mutinda, capacity?
Capacity. In this country, technical skills, they're in abundance. It's just us getting to use them and allowing ourselves to listen to them. And it doesn't matter how good a design we have, architectural or structural. If the implementation is shoddy, then we end up with whatever we get. The area we ought to look at, even as we look at the consultants, by those who regulate consultants, is also around contractors. Contracting and building buildings is such a responsibility, yeah, because lives are tied to it, the livelihoods, people's properties are tied to them, that it cannot just be left to businessmen. Yeah, and I know there are requirements in registration of contractors that they have certain technical skills among them that we ought to follow through and make sure these skills find their way into the site where the work is actually being executed. Otherwise, the beautiful designs boil down to just a joke if the implementation is shoddy. So skills we have in this country, I think, enough architects for the capacity of the market that we are in. We have enough engineers. We have enough quantity surveyor. We have enough project managers. Question boils down to, are we making use of them?
That's you have almost answered the same way. We agree that we have the technical capacity. But we've seen other areas really embrace technology. In fact, this week alone, we have seen just how technology can be used in this country. But construction, there's always research going on as to why we are not adopting the various technological innovations that are coming in. I've seen companies set shop here, just either areas around budgeting. We have softwares that are supposed to assist us to project manage, to monitor projects. But we are not seeing implementation of these technological advancements, even in the way we work on our sites. The uptake of this mechanization and just adopting to easier way of doing work is very low in this part of the world. I think Nairobi is actually a better place to work in terms of construction. When we go back to the counties, that are not Nairobi County, we are seeing, or that are not cities, we are seeing really construction has remained very labor intensive. What is the problem? Why aren't we picking up these products? PM?
I'd say that to some extent, most of the people in the construction sector, they are shy of embracing change. And you take a very simple example of something like even the aspect of concrete. I think now, currently we've seen the issue of ready-mix concrete maybe getting the increase in use of ready-mix concrete being embraced in the construction sector. We find that even with such a technology, people will also just want to go the manual way of mixing concrete on site. And you look at the time spent, it's labor intensive, and people are just not willing to take up the change. Even in the aspects of project management, say even project management softwares or other softwares that are there, we have BIM and all these kind of technologies. There are people that I think most of people in the construction industry, they're also not willing to learn. Things to do with now, because a project narrows down to how you manage it and how you coordinate the stakeholders in the project. When it comes to training of maybe different softwares and technology that needs to be used, there are people that maybe may not be willing to take up those technologies, and that's how you find that you could tend to push a certain technology, even a use of a project management software, which involves collaboration of the different stakeholders in the project, but people are not willing to take it up. So trying to push that to get the buy-in from the people has been our challenge. But where it has been embraced, you've seen that things are they are able to deliver on time.
QS.
Oops, my microphone is falling apart. It's an issue of better technology. Yeah. Automation. I think we are not where we ought to be. Yeah. As professionals, I think. Embracing the various, say, softwares or ways of doing, because automation then will make us more efficient, yeah, and quicker. Not sure for professionals boils down to wherewithal, or it's just an attitude of we will not learn new things. So that's a bit of an elusive one, but we are trying. Chavania didn't mention about BIM, which, to your surprise, is still an issue. Is still something that even the West, if you look at the rate of utilization of BIM, even in the West, they are still maybe within not the highest of percentages. So we are making our strides, our steps, but we can do better as professionals. For the construction side, as we try to work faster, for instance, if you look at the issue of, if you pick an item like the expressway, how long do you think it would have taken a local contractor to do the expressway? Yeah, these guys came, they prefabricated things offsite, road is still in use, and to be honest, before it started, for me, it looked like a nightmare. The whole logistics around it, properties around it. There's a road below that is in use, and a busy road at that. So we have, some of the things are accessible to us. We can precast things, we can lift them and place them. So we sort of limit ourselves. I think it's a mindset of we don't want to change. We're just in a space that is comfortable. But of course, taking up technology, then will help us to be more efficient and to be faster in the delivery of our projects, from design all the way up to execution.
Excellent. It would be a disservice to finish this conversation without having actual solutions. What are we doing in our various professions? You are prominent in your professions. You understand the severity of project delays and cost overruns. What are you doing in your respective projects to deal with this menace? Start with QS.
In our respective projects, that's closer home now. You feels like me as me now. Okay.
Yes, you as QS Mutinda.
For me and the projects that we're involved in, of course, it's a concerted effort because it's a whole team, design and the client, and it's just for us to, first of all, it is just to introspect you as a person. When you go home, are you doing the right thing for this project? Yeah? Are you the one holding the flow of the project? There's certain things that are required of you. Yeah? There's certain information that you can give. Are you the one holding this project? But bottom line is for us to just operate as teams. The spirit of wanting to be better, yeah, and not just mediocre. Not that I delivered a project, eventually I delivered, yeah, and it came to whatever cost it came to. A lot of it is not something that you can say. It is just the drive to do the right thing and do it well. So the thing, if I have to answer from my perspective, is just to ask myself those questions and be able to be helpful where we can deliver better and at lesser cost. If I'm being asked, for instance, for this class, have I given all the information around this item, yeah, to make a proper decision for the client and the team? Yeah? What are the lead times if this thing is full information, full disclosure? If this item is to be imported, what are the lead times and what's the impact of that item to the project? It's just being there wholeheartedly and not just for the fees and then take a backstage.
Asante sana. PM, what are you doing?
Project management. The aspect of project management, over 70% of it revolves around communication with stakeholders. And if we are efficient in communicating, then you find that projects are delivered on time. What I'm doing is, because the communication has to be there, a project manager needs to talk about effective and efficient communication, making sure that you communicate whatever is required to the right people at the right time and in the right manner. If we're encouraging the use of softwares that can be able, like project manager softwares. I'm currently working with one, almost I'm happy to say is our member who is working on construction management software app that is able to also bring the team together to be able to enhance communication. And also, there is a lot of reporting in project management. Actually, project manager will tell you that second to communication is reporting to the different stakeholders. And it can be hectic when you are doing manual reporting. So we are looking at ways we can be able to automate reporting so that nowadays we have, mobile phones is like, is part of our life. And so if I can be able to automate a report that I don't need to go to my email address, I can be able to get report just daily on my phone, check the different reports from the different consultants. Then that is going to help us improve on communication. So we're looking about automating even reporting and ways you can be able to collaborate and enhance that all the stakeholders are getting information on time. The other thing is most of the projects, especially these also in the government projects, there are a lot of hurdles, bureaucracy, and all those kind of things. If we are able to eliminate bureaucracy and make sure that the communication and information reaches the people that need to make decisions on time, and also not procrastinating about the decisions, then now our projects will be delivered on time. So there's also that personal commitment. As project manager, you need to have a personal commitment to make sure that we embrace and lead the team. The majority of us here, I know they are from the different professions, but majority are project managers. And yes, Mutinda, when he was starting off, he said that the failure is in project management in terms of coordinating the project. And so let us be accountable in terms of coordinating and encouraging teamwork and collaboration so we can be able to deliver projects on time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to my panelists. You have sparked this conversation. As I said, we cannot complete this conversation. This continues to be an ongoing conversation until we get the standards that we need to make our industry more palatable. In fact, sometimes we have people who are so afraid of, I've met people who are so afraid of construction, and it all emanates from the delays and cost overruns. From where I sit, almost 90% of the disputes that escalate to court and to arbitration have something to do with the delays and cost overruns. Very few are to do with quality or the scope change. Almost everything is the contractor is asking for too much. There are claims because there was variations in the original scope, the time that they took to finish. So this conversation really delves into very many other aspects, and this book has delved into also disputes and what delays and overruns mean, cost overruns mean for the contractors and the stakeholders in terms of disputes arising in construction. Thank you so much for lending us your time. Yes, QS.
Yes, of course, it will be unfair for me or not complete if I don't finish by congratulating Nashon Okowa for yet another publication. Thank you, and for adding into our space in construction stuff that we can read and refer to. Sunday.
Thank you for listening to us, and congratulations, as my able counterpart has said. We continue the conversation even in our individual projects and professional life as we move ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. So there's an issue of implementation, and the public sector has gotten a thorough beating there. So a lot of work needs to be done. So the next session, before I start it, I just want to shout out two other guests who have arrived. We have George Arabu, who is the AAK president. Please just stand up. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. We appreciate you. We also have someone who has gotten a beating from this panel, but anyway, we appreciate you. Honorable Johnson, the Speaker of Murang'a County, please. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you. Now, it's time to have a discussion with the man of the afternoon about this book. Why did you write this book? We're going to talk a little bit more about it, and I'd like you all to put your hands together for the man of the hour, the man of the afternoon, Nashon Okowa, a respected player in the built environment. We are here because of you, and we just want to talk about the book a little bit more. So my two microphones, please. Nashon.
Yes.
I have 4 books here. Wow, 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 wow. You started with Don't Buy That House. An insightful guide for off-plan buying, purchase. Then The Abnormal Student. And some of those abnormal students are there who have been helping us throughout. Then we went to the 7 Rules of Real Estate Investment. And now we are here to celebrate your 4th book. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Thank you. Thank you. eliminating project delays and cost overruns. Now, Nashon, when you were putting this book together, you said this is a book you felt you owed the industry. Why do you feel you owed this book to the industry? And the panelists said that it's a good guide that they will keep on referring to, but why did you feel this book had to be written?
Thank you, Claire. First of all, congratulations on your book. Claire has a book launch next week. So I'm speaking to a fellow author and a journalist. So congratulations on your new book. I think this is my 15th year in practice. I'm entering 15 years of practice in the field of PM. And what the panelist has described here really paints a glim picture of the industry and the country. Scholars globally agree that the growth of the construction sector is tied at the hip with the growth of a country, the growth of the economy. If we get stuck in this rat race of perennial delay and time overruns, we are not going to move as a country. We're going to get stuck into them, able to consciously and intentionally use our resources sparingly by delivering projects on time and cost. So as a project manager, it's something that I think I owed to the sector. A lot of the other books, I think I owed people. But this one is just something that I feel needs to drive the country forward, needs to drive the industry forward so that we can be able to, we need to leap from third world, and at some point we need to go to second and third and first. But we won't go to those kind of levels with the pedestal of perennial time and cost overrun on projects.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, in the book, you talk about project management being a skill that needs to be learned. So you can have the technical skills. You can be a good quantity surveyor, a good engineer, but that does not necessarily translate to being a good project manager. So tell us the importance of learning this skill of project management. And our panelists who just came off stage spoke a little bit about that, but delve a little bit more into that.
I think it's still controversial in our country and also in our industry. We are still on the debate stage. I happened to start in the CMA Foundation South Africa for 4 years. And in essence, it's not a debate. On a project comes on board, there's a PM. They are professionalized, how projects are managed. And if you look at the countries that are ahead of us, the countries that we are looking at for the future, what we admire, one of the additional skills that they added to the built environment is they professionalize how projects are managed. And that professionalization requires a skill. There is no profession that is got a lot of experience. I mean, however much I can draw and I can do a BQ. It's prescribed in law how you become an architect and a quantity surveyor. We jailed Mugo Wairimu. Despite his surgery successes, he's in jail because we call him a quack doctor. And the lawyer that won so many cases as a case in course. Why? Because despite winning cases in course, he's not a lawyer. So there is no profession that has got enough experience. I know we are still in the debate stage in our country on the importance of a project manager, but I don't think it's a matter we'll exercise choice for long because, I mean, you can tell, we are struggling. The moderator said 35%. The African Construction Trend Report, I think of 2023, indicated 87% of our projects are delaying. It's almost 100%. Okay? As I always say, we are not short of good architects. We have some of the best in our country, some of the best engineers. What we lack as an industry in the country is professional management of projects, and that requires a skill. Yes.
Yeah. Now, I want us to talk a little bit about some of the reasons for these time delays. And there's something you talked about, social proof. And the panelists also talked about it a bit. You know, if everybody is delaying, so why should I bother being on time? You know, talk to us about that social proof. Everywhere we go, we've never heard of a project that was delivered on time. And Ephraim said that he delivers on time and below budget. I need to talk to you, but tell us a little bit about social proof. Why is it that people feel like, I mean, everybody is delaying, so why should I be on time?
In fact, it's number one challenge that majority does. That is what social proof bias says. And you look around, you throw a stone. I think I talk about that in this country, if you throw a stone in any direction, you're going to hit a project that is delayed, that has time overruns. So students come out of campus, and we came out of campus, and you practice, and you're like, I mean, everyone's doing it. We celebrate projects that are delayed in this country. We canonize them to some effort. in this sector. Their launches are glamorous, are full with raised glasses, but at the core of them, there are 1 year, 2 years delays. It's like it's okay. And that kind of social proof is affecting us because nobody is finishing projects on time. As I said in the book, it's almost a criminal offense to finish a project on time in this country. It's almost criminal to do so. I mean, how dare you? So that social proof begins to clutter our minds that it's okay. I mean, Nashon is doing it, QS is doing it. All of us, when we meet in our gatherings of Korogas, we are all delaying projects. So what? So that's why it's one of the major challenges that we are facing. I was in a forum where the CS of Housing Urban Development spoke, and she actually pointed it, that we have a culture problem.
Of university, they see that's the trend, and then that goes on. And we'll talk about the state of the education and the training in the country. But I'd like us to talk a little bit about technical inertia that you talk about in the book. Tell us, you talk about Bushmen. We're still living like in the times of Bushmen. What is the issue when it comes to getting up to speed with technology?
Technological inertia, and I think President of QSK pointed us to a direction. And in the book that I talk about the Khoikhoi and the Khoisan, those who remember history. And I talk about the Bushmen in South Africa because it is said that construction is only better than hunting in terms of digital adoption. So we are only better than the Khoikhoi and the Khoisan. That is how bad we are, okay? And if you look at our built environment in Kenya, it's even worse because we are probably 20 years behind the rest of the built environment. That is why we are struggling. We are trying to manage and challenge 21st century complex challenges with all tools. And if you look at public sector projects, they're probably in 1700 systems still. It is the truth. It is why we cannot manage projects. And the challenges of the built environment in 21st century requires us to be on technology advancement so that we can begin to challenge them. But we are not. I once did a project where the contractor gave a work program on Excel. And I said, Excel, like, how do you work program on Excel? He said, PM, I've done this. And you know, it's quite old, it's quite advanced. So he said, PM, I've done this for 30 years. And I said, I don't care. You can't give me a program on Excel. And this is someone who is busy in government projects. Now, in which century did the world do projects in Excel? It's a question we need to ask ourselves. In which century? It is further, probably before Christ, I don't know. That far. But we are only better than the Bushmen, the Khoikhoi and the Khoisan. So it's one of the, again, challenges that arises of why we will not be able to manage projects on time if we, as an industry and as a country, are stuck with technological inertia.
Wow. Now let's go to that topic of the college courses, which you say are outdated. You give an example in the book where you say you spoke to a student and they could not even manage like a toilet project. So what about these bigger projects? So what's the state of our courses in this country, and why is it that people are still delivering courses that are not relevant to the industry?
Look, there's someone who read my book this later on and asked me, what is always your problem with toilets? I don't have a problem with toilets. He was saying, you always talk about toilets. You can't plan toilets. Yeah. But, I mean, if you look at our higher education system, and I'm going to talk, I didn't tell you she's a lecturer at UN, so I'm going to talk about this in her presence. But it is difficult to amend courses. I think the law is still, it must take 10 years. Yeah, thereabout, before you amend a comma, okay? Before you could change a comma in a program. I'm just giving a comma as on a light note, on a jest. But even if it takes for 8 years, the built environment of 21st century is so rapid that if you allow a course to get stuck you train engineers for probably 8 years without tweaking it a bit, come on, they're going to find the world has gone. It's totally gone. And then it's another rigorous process to change these courses. I always give this joke that, and it's true joke, that for me, some of the lecturers that taught me, their notes were turning yellow. It means it's not his taught you the 20 years. Okay? It's hardly anything amended from those notes. But you come out and you're facing a built environment that is so rapid, is so globalized, and it's a challenge. We need to, for example, one of the challenges of technology is, and I know institutions are trying to do it, You look at the architects, engineers, the quantity surveyors. There's an attempt to educate the person practicing. But for how long will we change minds when they're already practicing? Why can't we put this thing in training so that they come out, they're set with the training that is required of the market, and we're good to go. I mentor so many students, and a good number of them are here. It is always terror when they're finishing. They just feel they are inadequate to go to the industry.
Wow, yeah, and congratulations on that mentorship program. There's the Nashon Okowa mentorship program. There are a lot of the products of your training there. Good job on that. Now, I want us to talk a little bit about the client. So we've talked about the project managers, we've talked about the state of the courses, but sometimes the client is the problem, and you speak a little bit about that, and you talked about, you don't do single unit dwellings or you don't do couple dwellings because you become a therapist. You're a construction manager, not a therapist. So tell us, when is it that the client also needs to look at themselves and see, you're the problem, that's why we are having delays? And the panel had spoken a little bit about that, but I want you to get a little bit more into that.
Yes, I think in PM, I tell people that a good project manager, for them to succeed on a project, must be able to really rein on their client. And as you said, I hate managing single dwelling projects these days. Because as you say, you become a pastor, a marriage counselor, you become a project manager, a mediator. And just this week, a contractor was sharing with me, he read the book, he said, PM, I'm in that Wild War 3 you talk about in the book. The husband wants him to go, the wife is saying no. So, and I raised the concern of the overzealous client as one of the challenges of time management. Yeah, and people are here. We're in a tough economy as well, and the client come and tells you, I want us to go to site within a month. One of the things you must appreciate as a country, and will not change, is that construction is a science. It's not an art. You will not be creative so much about it. And projects don't succeed or fail during construction. Projects succeed or fail during design stage. And we have a constant rush on design stage. And overzealous clients are at the center of them. You haven't gone to government where you'll come and say, by August, I'm launching that road. Remember, construction is a science. It puts pressure on everyone. There's a process of arriving at time. Okay, and I've talked extensively about how you need to estimate time. So clients are a problem as well in this process. And single dwelling clients are horrible sometimes. So because a contractor can do 10 paint samples, just 10 paint samples. Okay, it is once when you get the travel ones. They fly to France, they come and change wardrobe, they go to Dubai, they come paint sanitary. So you're on a ping pong, you're just like this. And for me, I care about time management. If you care about some of these things, then you'll have concern of, okay, so where do I need to draw the line and say, I think this is enough. So overzealous clients are a problem, and couples are worse sometimes.
Okay. Now, I'd like us to talk about this hesitation sometimes by some people to engage experts and the dangers of that. You spoke a little bit about it in your book. Why is it that some people think they can be the project manager and they don't really have that skill? And why is it important for you to have experts on your team to ensure that your project is delivered on time and without any delays in the costs and every other aspect?
I think the housing survey that was done, was released in I think in April or March thereabout, really speaks to the mind of Kenyans when it comes to construction professionals. There's little regard to professionals in the construction sector in this country. Very little. In fact, I think 85% do not use consultants. And the reason they give was they don't think they are necessary and they think they are expensive. Well, second part, why should we be cheap anyway? I mean, you do architecture for 6 years and then you go be cheap. Okay? For me, that is a no-brainer. But not seeing the need as one of the key reasons, it is a grim picture of why we are also facing delays and cost overruns. Because I tell my clients this, experienced consultants give you a lot of leverage on projects. They will sound a bit expensive. They consciously design the project is secure, and at the core of it, they will almost ensure what I'm talking about is done. There's little variations, okay? not to disregard the novices that come out, but sometimes the graduates that come out needs to be mentored a bit. So clients like the young ones, yeah, because of cheap cost, but then they pay for them in design. Okay, so it is a major problem that we are facing. There's little regard to experienced professionals. Management of project, well, I said we are still on a raging debate. I am more than certain that the debate will end at some point, and we will begin to manage projects properly, because you can almost see. I think there's a debate in Parliament. If you look the Parliamentary Management Office, Budget Office, if you look at that document, they're now starting very strongly to talk about we need to manage projects properly. So we will manage projects properly. There is no country that can continue on this road we are on and succeed. And with the pressure to grow the economy, the dwindling resources, trust me, the issues we have, and I have a problem with the PPA Act, okay? I do not think that a country that is developing needs to have 25% variation allowed in law. For me, it's budget corruption. That luxury is not in the private sector. In the private sector, a client will tell you, I have 100 million, deliver. It doesn't come and tell you, I have 100 million, but you could go to 125 a bit. It's not there. But in public sector, and I talk about it in the book, there's that luxury, okay? A project that is consciously thought through, well-planned, with good professionals, cannot vary by 25%. So these are some of the things we need to start dealing with so that we reign. My thought is always on this is, if you have 100 million, that needs to include the contingency. So do a project of 85 million, spare 15 million for those eventuality. And I gave an example there. I've done one public project in my life, and I've never returned. And one of the problems was, it is a project that we could actually have saved money. But I know you're told of PM, the act, find a way so that we go about, let's use 25%, pesa si ya mtu. And so, because there is that allowance to just go over. So, as I said, it's a culture problem prescribed in law.
It is really a culture problem. And while we're in that issue of the public sector, I want you to speak a little bit about estimation. You speak about the bottom-up estimation, and it's not, when we think about bottom-up in Kenya, we have other ideas, but speak about that bottom-up and the top-down approach just a little bit.
So one of the major problems we have as an industry, and this one I'll bring to my colleagues in the sector, is time estimation. Okay? We are an industry that is constantly on gut time estimation of projects. How long should the project? I think it's 18 months. What do you think, PS, QS? Yeah, 16, thereabout. Yeah. That is not thought through. Contractor will come with prescribed smile and will follow on the timelines that people are giving. Then the marking games begin. And as Irina said, it's one of the leading causes of disputes. We are estimating time on gut feelings. And I think in the book, I have talked elaborately on the methods of how we can begin to say this project needs to take 10 months. How do you arrive at that? And one of them is the bottom-up approach, where you really need to start do the work. But it's a tool in project management. Break it down and start estimating time from the smallest of items. And then you build it up until you arrive at the top. But most of the times, the contractor will say 18 months. Actually, most of the times, the consultants will think. They just think. Yeah, 24. And the shocking thing about that thinking is sometimes the disparity between the consultants. And I give an example of a project there. That the architect was saying 28 months. And I think it's my second year in practice. Thank God my previous boss is not here. He's out of the country. So we can talk about this. We were thinking of 18. The architect is on 28. The QS is on 22. I've talked about it in the group. So how long should this project take? Okay? And all of us, scientifically, we are not calculating anything. After 2 weeks, and I talk about it in the book, my boss says, I think we can do 22. I was like, so why have we had it 4 weeks from, what is the process? Nothing. That is one of the problems we have. We are estimating time on our guards. Okay? This is a scientific thing. Now, bottom-ups allows you to start building time estimation from the lowest of the workprint structures on site. from 1 day to 1 week until you build and say, okay, this project is 9 months. Okay? The top-down approach is you start from where we are, consciously thinking about 18 months, and then you break it all down. And I keep urging people that that process needs to involve the fundi, the foreman. We don't see them when time is being estimated. We see them on site when now time is not working. And they tell you, I charge you 2 weeks. But the program is saying 1 week, says, mimi sikuwa hapo. Okay? Because reality, you can tell, this thing is not 1 week, it's 2 week thing. But because the boss wanted the contract, we signed, took photos, had lunch. Now the real thing on the ground of that paint work and the square meter of the paint, even if you do miracles, is taking 2 weeks. We are on a delay pedestal. So why don't we start by building that by 2 weeks, then come up and arrive at the time overall time project one. You rarely go wrong on time estimations of our method. And that's what we need to start doing. So that when we say our project is 18 months, it needs to be 18 months. We need to start securing investments and clients on time.
Okay, so we can do all this planning and we have the best intentions, but sometimes things happen, and you talk about it in the book, Murphy's Law. You know, anything bad can happen, right? So talk to us about change control and how we can go about that, because, you know, we're only human, things happen. So how do we deal with that in a good way?
Everything that can go wrong will. That is Murphy's Law number 1. And I mean, it's a big problem. I think one of the things you must start dealing with as an industry, we need really adaptable clients, adaptable professionals. Okay? However much consciously you deal with the project. And I talked about it in the book where I say risk is what is left after you've thought through all risks. If you're thinking about a risk, that's not a risk. Risk is what is left after you've thought through all the risks you can think through. That's what I talked about in the book. So it is something that will find you not prepared. Yeah, you do nice boreholes for trial pits. You do 18 meters, blah, blah, blah. You do all those tests. Excavation start, and you're told, yeah, what's up? The areas you just missed doing the geotechnical survey, that's where the rock was. What else would you have done as a consultant? So now what you require is adaptability. That's why I think the most successful consultants in the sector have to be the adaptable ones, so that you deal with the risks that was totally unforeseen. How do you adapt? How do you begin to rein on that cost? What value engineering can you do to bring that cost? How do you deal with time in that scenario? Okay? Because one of the things we are an industry, we don't even think about the risk we know. That's why you find a contractor will give you extension of time application based on election. Who doesn't know in August we are doing elections to 2027? We know it now. Why should that be a reason for time extension? It needs to be factored in the project. We know short rains in April, long rains in October. We know these things, okay? But we don't budget for them. Now, imagine the risks that are outside. We are facing severe rains that are abnormal, okay? The political risks, if you look at the global, just economic instability, the vagaries of various economies around the world, it's a problem we have. So I think adaptability is the center of the current consultants. That has to be successful so that you are someone who can be able to quickly adapt. You've hit the ball. You did everything you could, the trial pits, the geotechnical survey, but still there is hard rock. Unangia WhatsApp, and yeah, machine nalia sana. You know very well, next thing is, this is a variation on cost. Okay? The client has a budget of fixed. Because when the client is going to borrow in the bank, they don't tell the bank, give me 200 million, but we could hit rock to 220. No, they have 200. So how do you still deal with those kind of eventualities on site and still eliminate cost and time overruns?
Wow, that's amazing. Now I'm going to get questions, so have those ready in the next 2 minutes. But as we conclude, I'd like us to go a little bit on the author journey. You know, 4 books is no joke. Tell us, out of these 4 books, what has been the feedback when it comes to, you have contributed so much to the built environment. What has been the greatest feedback that you've so far? And you can start from that, eliminating project delays and cost overruns. What's that you're hearing from the market?
Well, when I read about the first book that is done by, I think my greatest concern was the cunning developers were making people to run away from buying off-plan. And if you are a student of the built environment globally, like I am, you realize that no country can eliminate off-plan buying. There are challenges you deal with. Because if you eliminate it, all of us consultants here, we have no jobs. We run out of business. So I was really concerned about that. And that book has helped a lot. Okay, it's helped a lot of people consciously. I worked with a client that was coming to invest in the country, buying off-plan. And he was one of the most difficult I ever worked with because he carried my book all through the process. He said, no, but this, here you say like this, so why are you, it was from Cameroon, okay? He was buying a number of properties, so we were beginning to help him. It was one of the most difficult, okay? So I've gone to places where the client will tell you, I want exactly what you're talking about. So it's a book that really has helped people to do off-plan house buying very well without being conned. I think there's a couple that mentioned there. They have the latest book and they came, and they're starting their housing journey. So I'm meeting them next week to begin to help them with their housing journey. So it has. The 7 rules, again, it's a major problem. If you look at our investments, how do you investment properly amidst the high bond rates and the high T-bill rates? I'm happy they've fallen down completely. It's a good thing for us in the industry. But how do you do it? Your feasibility, your return calculation, your marketing. So it's a book that was speaking mostly to the person who wants to do big investments in the country. This current one, we must remove completely time and cost overrun. I tell people, I do not fear putting my name to clients on the line and saying, if you allow me to run the design process properly, allow me. And allow me because this industry there's a stiff competition to be unprofessional in this sector, very stiff one. So if the client can allow me also to choose good consultants, give me time in design, I'm finishing a project on time and budget.
Awesome, awesome. Can we clap for that? Yeah. And if you don't have any of the other books, they are there at the registration desk. They're all here. Please make sure you get the copies of all the other books. They're very, very important in this industry. Now, I'd like to open it up for some questions or comments, and I'll take about 3 of them. So if you have a question, please raise your hand so that... Here we are. Start by saying your name, what you do, and then you can ask the question and make the comment.
Good evening. My name is Harrison Neshiwani, the CEO of Prairie Builders Group. First of all, congratulations, Nashon. I know we've had this discussion before. And for me, my question to you would be, how do you think we can help clients understand the need of professionals and a project manager in construction for them to eliminate project delays and cost overruns? How do you think we can help clients understand this more, especially as professionals? Thank you.
Yeah, I think my take on that is we need to put our foot down. If all of us, personally, I try as much as possible. When a client says we need 1 month, we need to ground break, there's what, all those things, 1 month, I said, it's impossible. Yeah, if you want me to finish your project on time, the other side and cost, and guarantee quality, it's impossible. I need minimum of 3 months to do what you want to do. And there's a lot of pressure to do that. Because I also talk about it in the book that it is treasonous to take a project to site without detailed drawings. It's just we need to prosecute you under the penal code. How do you take a project to site without detailed drawings? Now, for you to guarantee that, because it's one of the reasons why we have cost overruns. If you look at it, you go to project and we have people who perpetually are designing on site. We need to freeze design at some point. And I think as groundbreaking, we need to freeze design so that we begin to implement. But we are deciding what is the countertop on site, what is the window design on site, how many door inches do we have. It's a constant design process on site. And that constant design process is on cost variations. We won't be managed to rein on cost with constant design on site. I was on a project and I gave that example where there's this countertop. The QS assumed it is concrete because it was not indicated for the kitchens. So we go to site, and those are things I talk about in my early days of PM. We go to site, And the architect says, no, it is granite. He said, QS, come on, it's common sense. This thing is granite. It was 5 million variation, okay? But that is something we will have decided under design stage. That every single decision on finishes is decided and costed for. We have a BQ on detailed drawings. Yes, there are going to be changes, but there won't be major changes. But we have a constant design process. So one of the things we need to do, if all of us here, Claire as a client came to me, I said 3 months. He went to QS Munene 3 months. He says, okay, this thing is 3 months. But if you come to me 3 months and someone say, interpret on 1 week, this one is 1 week job, I will do my best. But remember what I told you, construction is what? A science. Okay? So I met an engineer, and I didn't mention the name in the book, but I talked elaborately about him. If he reads the book, he will know it's him. And I wanted to know it is him. I wanted to know it so that I can help him improve. He told me, and he's one of the most busy around, he told me he gives only 1 drawings for his structures. The rest he'll give us site instructions. 500,000, he designs on site. I know those clients are crying, but that is the problem we have. So if we all put our foot down to clients and begin to advise them that whatever you want, for me to do it in the manner is required, I need 4 months. I need 1 week. I need consciously thought through. Then we can design projects properly, because we are not curating projects properly in design stage.
Wow, wow. It's treasonous to go on site without designs. Amazing. I saw, yes, here, detailed drawings.
Hi, Wangoi Mwangi here again, founder Green Biophilic. And I'm very passionate about culture and nature integration and the built environment. So my question is anchored on culture. So we've really talked about, QS Mutinda, I think, talked about it. You've also mentioned it, that culture seems to be the problem in terms of the way we behave, yeah, as professionals. So I know maybe we have a culturalist here, but how do we deal with this culture problem? How do we become better professionals? How do we change the culture in terms of how we design our projects, in terms of reducing delays, in terms of you're leaving school and you know, okay, this is how it's done. How do we tweak that? I know it's not a construction question, but it's a problem everywhere. So what do you think, or how do you think we can deal with that? Yeah.
I think I think one of the areas where we have audacities is the area of culture. We really have a lot of negative audacities. The store is full when it comes to cultural problems. And for me, in my view, it's almost a national issue. We have an ethics deficit in this country. It's not lost on all of us that we have an ethics deficit. Our bank for ethics is bankrupt completely. And it's a national issue, starting from the top to the pauper in my village. So you can't even put it on it. But I think we need to have conversations around this culture problem, because it is affecting a lot of how we do most of our work, including construction. Okay? You know, we changed calling corruption in construction, and we gave it a beautiful name called facilitation. Yeah. So someone said, yeah, you need to facilitate. It sounds nice, right? It also means you need to bribe. Yeah. So and it's become normal, right? We've shifted it to facilitation, and it looks nice. It's a cultural problem. So I can't sit here and say that I have a solution on our national issues. I think we need to shake certain sacred foundations for us to shackles away from some of those things. But it's a conversation we must have. If you don't have it, it's affecting us at some point. As I said, there's a stiff competition to be unprofessional.
Wow. Last question I see, yeah.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Isaac Mbogwa. I'm a real estate agent. I work with Avenue Scope Limited. And thank you, Nashon, for the amazing book. But this book addresses limitations when it comes to the developers or the client. But I wanted to ask you, do you think that in Kenya, it's a country where there is no consumer protection or policies that defend the consumers of the construction industry services? I'm asking this because of all the properties that I have sold, despite the reputations of the people or the developers that I have worked with. Yes, they'll tell you the development will take, say, 2 years. There's no clause that says in case there's delay. Yes, they've always put that clause. In case there's delay, the buyer will be refunded. But when it gets to that time, now the buyer has to go to court to claim for the refund. They really happen, and I feel like there's a policy gap to an extent that most buyers, for instance, I know you know a lot of projects. I'll use Lavington. I've been there a lot. I have learned about like 7 projects that have delayed by more than 5 years. And the clients are just in court claiming for their refund compensation. I know of one MP who has lost about, he paid 83 million in cash. And the project was to be delivered in 2019. And he himself is currently in court claiming the 83 million plus the rent that he has lost that is coming to about, he bought 6 units, about 60 million. So do you think we are an industry, yes, you have addressed the developer's side, but what if the buyer falls into that trap? How do we address this issue instead of going to court, spending too much time?
Thank you very much. I think I talked about it in my second last book. But this is my thought around it, and I've written so much about it. The construction sector lacks one critical thing. Let me talk about the real estate construction. We have carefully regulated everyone in the sector except the person that pays everyone. Yeah. We've regulated lawyers, engineers, like accountants in the sector, architects, quantity surveyors, planners in the process being regulated. But the person that pays everyone has a free check. Okay? There is no law that regulates developers. So there's just a free fall for anyone. I can wake up tomorrow and put a billboard and says 80% sold. Of course, if you have money, put it on primetime news, Kenyans fly for it. So that is a major problem. I think we need to have some elements of regulation. And I've mentioned this in so many times. Dubai has it. Dubai has it. For you to start selling a house off-plan in Dubai, 2 things must happen. Either you have a 20% bank guarantee, or there's an escrow, you put in some money in that account. So there's some guarantee of there's an attempt. Okay? Even India has that kind of development. So we need to have some elements of regulation. Who can be? Who can be? You're not over-regulating, but who can be? For example, before someone advertises property, Dubai, what is called Dubai Regulatory Agency, where that marketing, that advertisement is first looked at. Do you have land? Do you have the professionals? And then you can begin to advertise. For us, your pocket. So that is number 1 problem that we need to regulate developers so that we begin to win out the 2+1s. And they are the majority. Number 2 problem we have is with Kenyans. Kenyans are very gullible when it comes to real estate. Okay? And usually in real estate, the most schooled is the most fooled as well. The people that lose most in real estate are the people who have gone to school, unfortunately. Scan around, people who are on these news items, you'll find the buyer, lawyer, buyer, accountant, buyer. Even people in the built environment get conned in those same projects. Okay? So that gullibility we need to address. And part of addressing that gullibility of Kenyans is through what we are trying to do, or public education. But fundamentally, we need to have certain elements of regulation. It is so easy for someone to wake up, start a real estate company, advertise in existing projects, put billboards all over, and con Kenyans. That is one of the major problems. Let us begin to regulate the person that pays us all. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for that. And I'd like us to put this to a close, and we'll continue to have discussions after this. I'd like you all to put your hands together for Nashon. Thank you so much for putting this book together with all this bulk of knowledge. Thank you so, so much. And if you haven't already gotten your copy, They are available at the registration desk, as well as all the other 3 books that Nashon has written. Please make sure you get a copy, and a copy for your friend, a colleague. I'm sure so many people could benefit from this book. Now, I'd like us to go to the next stage of this event, and I would like to invite our chief guest. Remember, we said that we have written a book on time delays, so we're not going to delay the time. Okay. I'd like us to get a few speeches before we get to the chief guest of the evening. And I'll start with the Speaker of Murang'a County, Mr. Johnson. Please come and give us a word. You've heard what our panelists had said. I want you to talk a little bit about the state of the sector. Please, welcome.
Thank you very much. Good evening. Yeah, my name is Johnson Okowa. I'm a project manager. Speaker is other entities, which I'll explain. But I want to, from the onset, congratulate my friend Nashon for what you're doing and continuously what you've been doing, letting people know. I like it. I know what makes you write a book a year. Many don't. I won't tell you. I won't tell them that it is because your mother is an English teacher. Yeah, I might not say quite a lot, but the panelists talked about the public entities, and I want to say something because that's where I am as a speaker. Somebody asked me, why did you go to become a speaker? And I said, it's a calling to go and serve your people. Use the knowledge you have in project management to serve your people. So currently, I'm the second speaker of the 3rd County Assembly of Murang'a. And it goes without saying that Murang'a is the best performing. I think, yeah, you can clap for me, for us, yeah. Yeah, Murang'a is the best performing county in this country. And sometimes performing good. There are no superstars in government. Sometimes performing is a crime, just like he's saying here. So we are very careful not to speak a lot. We have been given awards here locally, 2 years in a row, like the latest, best performing county. But also we've gone further out of the country and we won an award of governance in the entire Africa. So, but our worry is that our heart bleeds when we are told we are the best, when we see the poverty within ourselves. So in that regard, what we have done is that we've planned that Murang'a should go back to where it was. For those who can remember history, at one time, Murang'a funded the national government. So in that regard, we want to make Murang'a an industrial city, and on the June 13th and 14th, we shall be having an investor conference. You can log in, www.murang'a.go.ke, and you will see what project managers do as oversight. When I'm at the assembly, my work is to legislate, to oversight, and to represent. So my skills actually come in oversighting. My brother talked about public works, public jobs, and he shied away from them. But it is doable with the right people and the right attitude and the right leadership. We received an award from the Ombudsman for being the best county with their books correct, simply because we work together with the executive. But I'm saying the governor is the executive, speaker is the legislation, but it takes two to tango. So in everything he does, we have to oversight. And that is why for the last year, using my project management skills, we did not even get anything to do with any budget overruns in our projects. We did not get any pending bills. And pending bills will come from what you are saying or what you've discussed here. issues to do with the, engineered variations. Okay? So as a project manager, assisting the county, we are where we are. Let me come back home to Nashon. But I want to agree that, the first things first. If you don't get your feasibility correct, I have something I was showing my brother from my phone here, is that things don't go wrong. They just start wrong. So if you do not do your, homework correct, if you do not do your feasibilities correct, if you don't plan correctly, where else are you going? The truth is, I keep saying, if you are given 14 hours to bring down a tree, you need to use 13 hours sharpening the axe, so that it takes 1 hour to bring it down. And I also keep saying, like, a project is just like a heart operation. You must open only when you know where you are going to treat. And it is time bound, you have to sew it up before the patient dies. Should all this not go through, then there's no project. I have been into this many years. I think this is my 22nd year. And when I started talking about project management, I think Nashon was in class 7. I don't know. And I would go to TV, I would go to everywhere saying that it's not business as usual. There is no way a project of 100 million can be 140 and nobody is in jail. So what were the issues? So I went to almost all media stations. And now, since I'm aging, I've left that Nashon and the team, ACMK. I'm proud of you. I think ever since we formed it, you are holding it and you're doing very well. So I think that issue of overruns has been put across very well. I don't want to go through it. But I agree with many of you who are here that enemy number one is the client. And therefore, as a project manager, you must be able to manage your enemy. Unfortunately, that is the one who pays you. So I don't know how you do that. It takes a lot of grace and skill to do that. I'll go back to the assembly again. I say, I have legislators who are paid to speak. And I have to manage them because they are all paid to speak. And through my experience in project management, I'm able to do it. Until one person told me, there are no squabbles in Moranga. I said, they are there. We just handle them. Even that family that wants to do a kitchen that is twice the size of the living room, Nashon, you will have to know how to deal with them. Finances are quite important. Sometimes we start our projects without, requisite finances. We want to go and raise the finances. I don't know, pre-sale, I don't know what. And I think it's time that by the time you start your project, the entire finances should be somewhere quarantined for that particular work. Because as much as you push a contractor and you're not paying them, then nothing will happen. But I want to say that other than that, our own ethics, it has been said here, I want just to overemphasize it, that our own ethics. When you go to government, it's very easy for people to visit you. My brother there running a real estate has put it very clearly that an MP went and paid cash, 83 million. And I was saying, wow. I would want to see the method of how he carried that money. But ethics, and that is why the project did not end. Maybe that money was looted. Kama is a beach, it came back to him. Yeah, but ethics in whatever we do, I think I have fellow PMs here. Nashon has said it, I'll say it again. Step on your shoes. And anything that you're being told, you just stand firm. Just say no. Actually, I have seen projects that you start with a lot of compromises, doesn't end and doesn't give you any other project thereafter. So you'd rather do a small project, get some little fee, and get more jobs in the future, other than just do projects just because you want to satisfy your pocket, and you don't get anything in future. I also want to say that we have consultants here, the likes of the QS engineers and everyone here. PMs are not governors to govern the project. They are team players. You know, when we started it, we had a lot of problems. Nashon can tell you, ACMK can tell you. We had a lot of problems. I still encounter those problems when a PM comes into a project, somebody thinks that he's going to be, the overall. I think a PM is more of a coordinator, and he should be seen as a player, not an enemy. But also, he's the one who should be looking at things from a helicopter view. The architect is busy designing, the QS is busy calculating, the engineer is busy doing those boreholes, and there needs to be someone who oversees this end to end, so that when something starts going wrong, they can shout. We don't have to wait until the end. I am doing a project with Nashon, he has left, and I was asking them, the contractor is out of time we can see the work schedule that is out of time. And I'm asking them, what are you doing? So I told them, what I normally do is that there's a clause for damages for delay. So he has delayed. So deduct the money now. The contract does not say that you do it at the end of the project. Deduct. So that by the time he catches up with the program, return the money. So let us also be innovative in the way we do our things. But I don't want to go past that. It was Nashon's day today. I also don't want to go into public so much. I would say that Murang'a County tripled its revenue, on-source revenue, without adding any taxation or levies. I might have a problem with the government in place. Sawa, thank you so much. God bless you. Have a good evening.
Thank you for that. Some good insights there. Now, next, I would like to invite QS George Arabu, the president of the Architectural Association of Kenya. Architect. Please step forward. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity. I'm sorry I came in late, so I shouldn't be given time to speak. I might just grab the whole amount of time that's left. But let me start by saying congratulations, Nashon. I mean, this is, I think, the 4th time I'm saying this. And perhaps it's fitting that you make, I think the events are growing bigger and bigger. I just want to know how much money you're making now. Because clearly, you don't do things several times just because you like it. I think it's now become very lucrative. And I might want actually to say that it's important even for the students you're mentoring to understand that the built environment professional is very dynamic. And I think we all assume that we only make a livelihood by putting brick and mortar and working on projects. But I think this level of engagement where we are contributing to the sector in other ways, including having very strong opinions like Nashon, because I think his opinions are very strong, sometimes too strong for other people to stomach. But as he said, our sector is scientific. If you don't put your foot down, there are a million ways of doing the same thing. And you just have to make a decision and say, this is what we're going with. And because you are scientifically, working it out, it will work out. The problem comes when you put your foot down very hard, and then it's a mistake. Just come up from our project where someone went and moved the switches for a bathroom inside. And I asked, who did this? And then I was told, she did. And then I asked, and she said, I wanted the switches inside. And the way the instruction was given was not a suggestion. The builder told me I was ordered. Now, I think Nashon, what I like about him is that He's not afraid of having those strong opinions. He always has something backing it up. And that's what a mentor does. And I think sometimes later on, we will be judged as people in the built environment, not based on even the brick and mortar that we've done, not based on all the projects we've done, but based on the people that we've inspired. It could be a student, it could be someone who read your book, and all these people are the ones who are going to make you great, because our projects are just there and we can always run away from them. As AAK, one of the things that we advocate for is excellence in the built environment. And it's not enough to have CPDs or to do the right projects or to advise people or rather get the best clients and all that. Right now, as we speak, we are building cities at a rate that is crazy, but we are building them mostly wrong. You heard the stats. About 85% of our projects are being done wrong. And that's where I feel someone like Nashon, when he comes out very strongly and says, there is a problem here. Just think of the fact that the Bible says only 144,000 people are going to go to heaven. And we have 8 billion. No wonder you have a lot of very angry preachers everywhere in this country. And I think what he's doing is, and I think we can help this message to go out, okay? When you have construction going on, each and every one of you is here and is a player. You're going to be judged. Whether you are involved in AHP projects, and whatever is happening is happening. Whether you are not involved in building the roads that are being built badly, one day they will say, these people were in this sector, and these people did not do anything, or they did bad things. So what do we do? And for me, the biggest thing is continue trying to push for excellence. And how do we do it? You could try it your own way. I had some of the panelists were being asked that question, what are you doing? And I can bet those were all made up things. Because, no, hear me out. Because what they're doing is like a drop of water in this big ocean. And sometimes when so many people are doing evil things, the few people who are doing good things end up getting drowned. And then it doesn't count. And I like, as I finish, the idea of putting your foot down. We need to do it in synchrony. Let's act like a choir, right, as the built environment. If a developer, who we all agree are one of the biggest problems, all right, if they all come to us and they get the same answers and they get the same information, they will not go, they will come back and they will do the right thing. But as long as we are being compromised, and I always give people this, that if you are going to put your fee at 50 bob, the client will start negotiating downwards from there. If you reduce it to 10 bob, they'll start from 10 bob going down. If you reduce it to 1 bob, they'll start from 1 bob going down. So it doesn't matter what figure you think you are being competitive at. Just go by the rates and then negotiate from that point. I thank you for the opportunity, and I hope I haven't taken so much time. Santin.
Thank you so much for that. Just putting your foot down to make change and making an impact. So whether your book is impacting an individual, a student, or the sector, that's what it's about. Now, the next speaker I'd like to invite is the Women in Real Estate President, QS Patience Mulondo. Please come onto stage and tell us something.
Good evening, everyone. Congratulations, Nashon, on your 4th book. I've read 2, 7 Rules of Investment, and I started the Don't Buy That House. Yes, I had to give them to my brother because he's about to invest, then he'll return. Yes. So my name is Rachel Patience Mulondo. I'm a quantity surveyor and the president of Women in Real Estate. Women in Real Estate is a society that is dedicated to advancing the achievement of women in the built environment. And everything Nashon has been talking about is is basically about excellence. So this is what we are trying to do. We do this through business development, leadership development, industry research, and career outreach. I'll talk about this not under wire, but just generally. Business development. I think as an industry, it's very important for us, or return on investment. Like he said, we're going to suffer. We've had clients who actually tell us to give them pre-contract work. So we do everything up to the point of going to tender. And they do pay, but don't proceed to construct because they're better off putting their money in a fixed deposit somewhere or in a money market or in a bond. And so we are suffering. And we need to do something about that. So we have to look at it beyond just delivering a project for a client to live in or to sell. We have to do it knowing they have to make a return on it so that it's a lucrative business and they keep coming back because at the end of the day, everyone wants to make money. Leadership development, we have to be bold to say no to clients, to say no to rogue consultants. If you cannot develop a leadership bone in you, then you'll suffer throughout your projects. You either become the doormat of the project who has to take on everyone's problems and find a way to deliver, or you just have to stand up and say no and make sure things are done as they're supposed to be done. Industry research, I think we are also lagging behind on that, in that there's this thing called market rates. How many of us, especially QSs and engineers, take time to actually build up a rate and justify why a client, especially a client who's not a government client, is paying a certain rate for concrete, for reinforcement, for finishes? Taxes are going up every day, and we are bringing rates from government, which we know have so many factors that add up to whatever they are. And then you want to give the same rate to someone who's building their home. I think that's not fair as a team. We should be able to deliver projects based on the client we are serving. When we are serving the private clients, please take time to build rates. Find out how much something is being sold. Negotiate with contractors. Don't just say yes to whatever rate they're putting on the table in the name of a market rate. And lastly, career outreach. WIRE runs a mentorship program where we try to help our members to develop in various aspects of their career and leadership development, because we believe as we continue to try and restore sanity to the industry, everyone has a role to play in it, and you're never too young or too old to do the right thing. So if you're interested, you can reach out and we can work together. We also do it for the gentlemen. We've been hearing a lot of cries about the boy child. The mentorship is open to everyone. Thank you. Congratulations, Nashon.
Thank you for that. And as he said, leave no man behind, nemo residio. And that's the same with Nashon Okowa's mentorship program. He makes sure that no one is left behind. Now, I'd like to give Irene Agutu from the Architectural Alliance a chance to make a short speech before we go to the chief guest. Welcome. Let's clap for her.
Thank you very much. Tonight is about Nashon Okowa, isn't it? So I'll speak about him. My first experience with this gentleman was on the streets of Nairobi. He's a man of the streets. So you've heard that terminology. Ujamani wa Nashon. What was happening at the time is that the National Building Code 2024 was set to be launched. But this same National Building Code had neglected to recognize a number of professions which are erroneously referred to as emerging, yet very many of them have been around for more than 30 years. I'm speaking of interior design, I'm speaking of project management, both construction and project management, And I'm speaking of landscape architecture. So here we are in a room of activists led by Nashon Okowa, telling us, you guys, we cannot allow this to go on. We can't. They must recognize us. And we're like, yeah, whatever. We found ourselves in the streets of Nairobi with placards. Haki yetu. Nashon, on behalf of all the interior designers, let's see your hands up. Vanessa, Levy, I see all of us. On behalf of the construction project managers, the project managers, where are you? The ones we were with on the streets, Namkowengi, and the landscape architects. We have this man to thank. Having said that, we are talking about eliminating project delays and cost overruns. There's one thing I want to be very, very happy about. Actually, my heart is warmed. How many architects are in the room? George Arabu, I can see you. You can lift your hand up. You notice that the panelists and any consequent speaker did not lay blame on the architects. That's a win for us, because we are always blamed as the lead consultants. However, as an architect myself, I will not absolve us. And I'll borrow one or two things from some of the speakers. There was a speaker who spoke and said, if you're given 14 hours to cut down a tree, use 13 of them to sharpen the axe. Now, what he was saying in not so many words, because he's a project manager, is that the design process, and listen very carefully, because we're all in the construction industry. We all seem to be grappling with where the problem is. I'm one of you, I will say, we are a big part of the problem. Because we send our people, we are recognized as a lead consultant. We send our people out there with drawings that really should not even leave our offices, to be honest. If we are going to solve this problem that Nashon has identified, architects, if we are asked at the beginning of the project, how long is this going to take? I know the numbers are usually 18 months, 22 months, 24 months, maximum 36 months. Please use more than 50% of that time to resolve our drawings. Because when we send out our drawings to site, when we have the client approving basically what the design is, and I'll come to yet another group that's right behind us, and I can see. When we send out these drawings, let's make sure that they are beyond, they're above reproach. They cannot be questioned. They have all the information required to go for implementation on site. Interior designers, you're not absolved. That same principle trickles down to you. If we could resolve that, and that also works well for the suppliers as well. If I go to with the client to a supplier, specify whatever it is they want or whatever it is they're selling. So let's bridge this gap, people. Let's bridge this gap. There's a group I want to thank as well, and that's the project managers. If there's one thing you have done for us, I know you have been fought over the years by all the other professions for, coming to site and loading it over everybody else. I think the most thankful people to you, they may not say it, is the architects. The reason being, you have taken away our problem. We are no longer therapists. We are no longer marriage counselors. You deal with your client, we will design. Marriage counseling and your, babysitting of grown-ups, give us that time to resolve the drawing so that when we get to site, everything is resolved and projects do not experience this. In introduction, Irene Agutu is my name. I'm an architect by profession and an interior designer. I'm the immediate former chairperson of the Interior Designers Chapter, Architectural Association of Kenya, a founder member of the Architects Alliance. Why the Architects Alliance? We have an umbrella body called the Architectural Association of Kenya. The Architectural Association of Kenya has 8 chapters. Each of these chapters represents a certain segment of the built environment industry. However, when it comes to specific issues that are unique to specific parts of the profession, the QSs have a QSK. The project managers have ACMK, ACPMK, right? Interior designers, IDAC, ADEC, mko wapi? Mko hamko? Wako. Then we have the engineers, IEK, and so on and so forth. The emergence of TAA is to take care of the interests of specifically architects, but we remain under the umbrella of George Arabu, the Architectural Association of Kenya.
Thank you. A little bit about writing a book. And it's not an easy journey. There are so many people who come through that funnel before we get that end complete project. And one of those people we deal with very thoroughly is an editor. And I'm looking at a colleague. Editors, sometimes we don't like them. As an author, you're like, I have this idea for my book, but sometimes editors come and disentangle your whole manuscript and tell you that doesn't work, and you're wondering why. So I'd like us to hear a little bit from the editor of the book, Eliminating Project Delays and Cost Overruns, and Godfrey has worked on a couple of Nashon's books. Come and speak to us about the journey that has been working with Nashon Okowa when it comes to editing. Godfrey Ombogo, come.
Thank you, Claire. Good evening. Nashon has made me an expert of the construction industry because I have edited all the 4 books, including the one that he was calling people abnormal students. So I am also in the construction industry, only that I construct words and mend broken ones. So as Claire has said, what construction managers are to the developers, Agutri here has called them therapists. That is the same thing we do to the authors. We are their therapists. Sometimes we tell them there's no book here. When somebody has put up 300 words, 300 pages, and you tell them there's no book here. You know how that goes, eh? So we have been in this journey with Nashon, not just from the time he started writing, but even before he knew that he would be a writer. The time when he was still trying to make his handwriting work better. He used to be a backbencher in high school, in the same class where I was always sitting in front. Even right now, I'm sitting in front. So Nashon and I have maintained that. I want to just encourage you, Nashon, that the journey has not ended. And the speed with which you are moving is alarming. You know, when you sent me this manuscript, I think just last month, right? I was like, where do you get the energy? So I know many of you may want to write, but writing is, even to us who are writers, is the most difficult thing. So you can learn from Nashon. He's an inspiration to all of us. And thank you for this. Continue writing. I believe when he started, he told me he had 7 books in mind. I don't know whether they have gotten to 10 now. So that means if there are 10, that means you have 6 to go. But if there are more, what you need to know that I still have the energy to continue editing them. Bwana Rabo here said that Nashon has strong opinions. It is true. And he puts those strong opinions across in strong language. So it is our work to tone down that language. So trust me, the language that you see here, if you find it strong, know that it has already been toned down. Yeah, so I would want to just end there. I don't want to say much because today is not my day, it's Nashon's day. But I am a journalist by profession. My name is Godfrey Ombogo. I'm an editor, but I took a leave from the newsroom recently and ventured into communication. So now I do communication mostly, but I've not stopped writing and editing and toning down your strong language. So thank you very much, and Nashon, congratulations.
Thanks for that. And indeed, Nashon, the rate at which you're moving is alarming. You know, we have the same designer. And I remember when I was getting my book designed, he was like, you know, Nashon is already at which stage of design? I'm like, book 4. I'm just starting book 1. So good job. I like fall in love with hard work. And that is what you do. And we really appreciate you. And now I'd like us to invite our chief guest to give his speech and just tell us a little bit about the book and about Nashon. I'd like you to put your hands together for the PS of Irrigation, Mr. Ephantus Kimodo. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. Karibu sana.
Nashon, our guest of honor today, the leaders in the industry who are here with us today, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I'm happy to be here today. So, you know, today we are talking about project management. I seem I didn't manage my time well, but all the same, at least I'm here before the end of the session. So I'll start by saying how I met Nashon. I met Nashon before I joined government. I was in the private sector, mainly in the real estate industry. So I met Nashon when he was actually a mediator. Then I even didn't know Nashon was a project manager. He was actually a mediator. We had a sort of an arbitration case with one of our contractors. That time I was a developer. But what was interesting, I think the contractor then had told Nashon that this is a team of Mungiki. And they have a lot of Mungiki people. So whenever I used to go to that office for Nashon, I would see some men in black there. I never used to know. But later we became, as the process continued and continued, at some point, as he was interrogating the figures and the books, he noted a few things that we still were getting some funding from clients. So he'd asked that time, how comes you still have cash flows flowing in the off-plan model? You know, off-plan is quite challenging at times. When you're selling a house is off-plan, it's quite challenging, especially because of some clients have lost faith in most of the real estate developers. So without knowing he's a project manager, I mentioned to him, we do good project management, and this has enabled our customers build trust in us, and continually, they've continued trusting us. That's the time now Nashon mentioned that actually he's actually a project manager. So after that, we work closely with him. After that arbitration case, we work closely with him, and I learned quite a lot. So Nashon, congratulations. I thought it was the second book. I came for the first one. This is the second book, but I think immediately remember when you sent me this, I'd wanted to go through it, but I know I'll still go through it. But there are 3 key things I mentioned to you when you send that book. which I would wish to mention. One, I said if we could manage our cost, the same way you said, if we could manage our cost, finish our projects in time, and at the same time ensure quality, because I think that's all project manager is about, or project management is about, you'd find would actually double our income, even as a country. Because I believe when you look at our public debt, look at the GDP, when we have stalled projects, it still contributes to the GDP, but doesn't contribute to our income. And that's why you find there'll always be that disparity. If there's an increase in GDP, then there's public debt, but the income is still at a certain level. You find most African countries, our ratio of GDP to income will average around 16%. But it's my belief that if we finish our projects in time, which is something that now that we are deliberately and ensuring we do, like for example, in our State Department, I was just sharing with Nashon earlier, that we focus, instead of starting new projects, we said we focused on now completing the new ones, which actually speaks to what I'm talking about. Because when you complete the new ones, yes, you'll be able to unlock the potential. So by the time there's that tendency, when you come in as a new administration, you focus probably on new ones, probably because of the demands of litigation. The main beneficiary are the farmers. They'll actually get the benefits, which is now, because when you complete two projects, like for example, we've completed the Moya irrigation scheme, which before it had 25,000 acres. Now it's commanding over 30,000 acres. Most of you who come from that region might have noticed that that region now has even doubled in terms of the GDP, because as a result of the completion of the Vimba Dam, now the farmers there are doing two seasons. Then also there's a project that we call Bura irrigation scheme. It has been going for a long time, only commanding 2,000 acres. But now on completion of Law 2 recently, that is March this year, we find now we are commanding 25,000 acres. And more over above that now, we're able to attract even the private sector to come on board under PPP on the same project. The other project maybe I would mention is actually the Luanzo irrigation project, which has been going also for a long time. So, but what I'm trying to say is that on this completion, if you complete in good time, what exactly happens, like the irrigation project, because they're actually production-based, the farmers will start producing. When you start producing, we'll start getting income in the economy. When you get income in the economy, using the same, that means now our income ratio to the GDP will even go up, and that will help us also to be able to manage our debts. So it's a good book, and I think in the public sector, this is something that we would want to embrace. I've told Nashon and many more that I want to have our engineers back there go as the team is called the contract implementation team. It will go a long way in unlocking even the potential, even the GDP of the country. So congratulations to the good job you are doing, and we hopefully all of us in the public sector, private sector will embrace it. But coming back to the private sector, the other thing I realize about project management is that, yes, architects are there, they'll do a good job, QSs will do a good job, engineers will do a good job, but when you have someone, if the client is the one managing these people, it will always be a challenge. So when you bring in a project manager to be managing these people, it enhances, first of all, that coordination alone is very key towards completing. The other thing also, it helps us in managing the cash flow. Because you realize when you do good project management, the cash flow also comes in, and you find more often than not, cash flow is almost everything in a business. So that's something that I would urge all the people in the construction industry, real estate players, to actually embrace. And when you manage your cash flows well, then profit automatically follows. So personally, I'm a beneficiary of the services of project management, and I'll continue encouraging even many more, both in the private sector and also when I was practicing in the private sector. The other thing I've seen big benefits as a result of this is actually how customers get satisfied. Because some of this, when you have a good, effective project manager, even if a project has delayed for one reason or another, you find those project management reports, some of them you share bits and bits of that with the customer. Customers get very satisfied. So having a project manager in your firm as a business owner is actually a key plus to ensuring the success of a business. The other thing that which brings delays now in the public sector, you find many a times when you start most of the projects, I think lack of project managers plays a very key role. You'll find a situation whereby you've started a project, maybe it's a donor-funded project, maybe you've acquired the land partially, and you've started the project. So when you start a project, along the way, the other piece of land also is required, but there's no one who was managing that process. So you find that element, and also because of at times in government, there's bureaucracy here and there. You find that project, just because of lack of a good project manager who actually understands and coordinates all those things like land acquisitions, getting well leaves. Some of those things at times you say you want to start before you get all those things. But at times it's a good idea because of the political pressure. But the challenge is not even that. The challenge is not having someone follow up to ensure all those things are done and completed in good time. Once the project starts, probably the interest of some somehow goes down, and in the process you find now some of these things which were late bits and bits, the land acquisitions, the way leaves, all that is what resort to delaying a project. It delays a project to a tune whereby every time when you meet the donors, you're asking for more funding, they're telling you the books don't look good, you need to absorb this, you need to do this. But I believe all these challenges with an effective project manager, I have no doubt in my mind that we should be able to effectively unlock all the stalled projects, and I have no doubt in mind that this is the way to go. And this is actually, even as we talk about a very minimal fiscal space, if we embrace the culture of project management, we'll be able to unlock quite a lot. Otherwise, kwa leo, sina mengi, just to say congratulations my brother and continue the good job. Asanteni sana.
Here to celebrate Nashon and the strides that he has made. Writing 4 books is no mean feat while holding a full-time job in an area where you need therapy and all kinds of things. So I want us to get ready to come towards here. Please, Nashon, start making your way towards here. And we're going to count from 5 up until 1 as we celebrate Nashon on his latest book, Eliminating Project Delays and Cost Overruns. And as I said, if you haven't gotten your copy, they are available there at the registration desk. And I'm happy that they're going down. They're really going down. People have gotten their copies. So thank you for that. So get a copy for yourself, get a copy for your colleague and friends. Thank you for coming here today to celebrate our good friend, Nashon Okowa. I'm going to hand over the scissors to you. And please, we will count down together from 5 until 1 as they unveil this wonderful book that the industry needs. So on the count of 5, let us start. 5, 3, 2, 1. Yay!
The Lord has done it.
Awesome.
Finally. The Lord has done it all. Finally. I said the Lord has done it all. Finally. The Lord has done it all. Finally. I said the Lord has done it all. Finally. Chineke melaya. Finally. I said the Lord has done it all. Finally. The Lord has done it all. I said the Lord has done it all. Finally. The Lord has done it all. Finally. I say finally, it's now a testimony. It's now a testimony. Finally, it's now a history. I say it's now a history. Finally, he has done it. What my mama could not do, the Lord has done it. What my papa could not do, the Lord has done it. What my friends could not do, the Lord has done it.
Congratulations, Nashon. Good work there. And if you want your copy signed, please make sure you will see Nashon at the end of this event and get your copy of your book signed. And if you carried the other books that he has written, please, this is the opportunity to get a signed copy of the book. Yes, I can see they're already being circulated there. Now we want to hear from the man of the moment. I can see the books are already circulating, but I'm going to take you for a minute. You will continue the signing a little bit later, and we want to hear from you. as you give your vote of thanks, I want you to just speak to us, tell us the journey that has been, and just leave us encouraged as you continue being audacious and saying it like it is. Karibu Sani. Let's stand up and give him a round of applause. Thank you, Sana.
Thank you very much. I know we are managing time and cost. So today is managing time. So we can have our seats. I will take the shortest time possible. You are lucky that I'm a project manager, so you know very well I will not take long. But PS, my good friend, Mr. Kimodo, Speaker of Moranga, the president of associations that are here, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Well, I think my journey of writing was not deliberate, to be honest with you. Sometimes when you write 4 books, people think that it's something you planned for a long time. I didn't. I think I was average in high school in terms of commission writing, and I'm lucky my classmate is here in high school, Godfrey. I was not one of the best. However, fortunately, I was raised by a father who really spoke his mind. And sometimes I fear that if I fully took after him, then there's a big risk, because my father said anything and everything. So I was raised by a father who spoke his mind, and I was raised by a father who is a politician. That is a very bad combination sometimes. But personally, I think we need to improve our country as much as possible. And we need to make it better. I always tell my mentees that they need to practice what we call no complain and no mama week. The whole week you don't complain or mama about anything. Because sometimes the things you complain about most of the times are the things that you can change. So for me, one of the things that I do is I play my part. Just whatever I think that will make this industry better. And thank God that as a writer, you get feedback. By the way, after this book, I've got like 5 emails on what I should write next. Now, next time, including my wife, said I think next time you write about this. So it's the beauty of writing. When I was writing for the Standard, it's also how you could write weekly, because every article you get feedback of what needs to come next. But I want to encourage us in the built environment. This sector is very key if you're going to grow as a country, extremely key. We are contributing 14% of our GDP as a real estate and construction. That is critical. And if you're not careful, if you don't address the things that bedevil us in this sector, clients will take their money elsewhere. They will. If you don't address this animal that we perpetually on our projects, we have overruns. And remember, overruns means reduced profits. Okay? So we will find people constantly preparing bonds, going to agriculture, and we're going to be left with no work. So the onus is on us to educate. Maya Angelou always said, when you learn, teach. So for me, that is all what I'm doing. That the little that I've learned, I know there are people here who are my seniors, and they've learned more. I was speaking to Engineer Kinoti there. It's a good friend of mine, the director of Civil One, and we're talking about his book. We were talking about needs to write a book of how to write a good engineering firm. I mean, nobody has told us how. In school, you're not told if you're director of engineering firm, how are you going to run it? Where are you going to get clients? And I said to him, that's a good book, so that in future those are coming can run engineering firms better, serve clients better, deliver better. So the lessons he has learned, and I'm sure they are painful lessons, okay, can that be documented? So we need to improve the industry. And there's a lot to improve. Unfortunately, yes, there's a lot to improve. There's just, sometimes I get comments of, oh no, can you say something positive? And I said, sometimes I wake up and say, today I want to say something positive. I really want to say something. I'm in the mood of saying something positive. Then you go online and find building has collapsed. So what are you going to say, surely? What positive are you going to say? That we are trying our best, but buildings are just collapsing. There's nothing you can say, okay? So there's a lot that is wrong in our sector. And I know the project one is here, but one of the things we are trained on as PMs is we don't see good things until the end. Unaona tu makosa. That's why on site, contractor anasema tu, wewe unaonanga tu makosa. Yes, then I'm trained well. We will celebrate you at the end. But for now, we must correct the things that are not right. And some of the things that are not right are with us consultants, okay? There are a lot of things that we need to correct. People are selling licenses at market fees, indio? We know, okay? So can we propose a legislation that criminalizes that offense? That is a criminal offense to sell your license. Then we'll begin to deal with the cheap quacks who buy licenses. Because now it becomes, can we put in the penal code that if you sell your architectural license and scrupulous developer, if we find you, it's 30 years. It sounds outrageous, Sidio. But that is the level we'll have to go to stop these things. There's no other way. Because if you put 100,000 fine, these people make good money with these shortcuts. So can we be ruthless in our proposal? We want to address some of these things like building collapses if we are very lenient with the issues. And my worry is always this. This is always my biggest worry. That we are in a buyer's market. If you're in the real estate sector, you understand what that means. We are in a buyer's market. We move from seller to buyer. And personally, I think we're in the middle of another strategic inflation point. If you look at the buyer behavior that we have currently in real estate, that buyer is very informed. Is very informed, or he or she very informed. Now, if we don't address some of these challenges amidst the rest that you're facing, remember, since 2015, until last year, the construction and real estate sector has not grown. It hasn't. From 2015, 12.9 in 2015, the report for last year came out 2 weeks ago, 2.3%. So we've dropped by 10% since 2015. And if you look at it, there is no impetus for investor to put money anymore in this sector. It's just not there. There's no guarantee that if I put 100 million, it will be 100. Yeah? Professionals have become like contractors. Contractors have become professionals. People undercut feet because they know they'll eat money from the contractor. Variations are approved anyhowly. So 100 million, projects either stuck or in arbitration, okay? Nothing is finished. That client is not investing in real estate next time. And we have several of them. So majority of us here in this built environment, we need to address them. There's just so much books to write. There's so much to put out there. Let us address the issues in this sector. If we can address them, when I wrote my first book, got a call from a diaspora client in Australia, and she told me, I had stopped buying off-plan, now I'm going to start buying off-plan. I know she's buying some project somewhere. So that developer is getting buyers. So if all of us can address the pieces of real estate and construction sector, not only as the construction sector, the country will grow. The country will grow. If those colleagues of ours in the public sector, stop approving roads that are under-designed or under-constructed, will be good. Personally, I don't let anything go. One time I was driving home and I found a contractor doing a village road. And he's compacting apparently. But I'm just saying, he's just running from top to bottom and then he's off going. But I said, but it can't be so. That's not compaction. So I went and stopped him and said, boss, go and compact properly. So I said, Mimi, so if you don't compact, I'm calling governor. I didn't even have governor's number, by the way. I'm going to call the governor. So there's just so much, and our colleagues in the public sector, if they put their foot down and just do the right things, we're going to be in a better place. Because there's just so much that is going wrong. And for me, I don't want to blame government. I don't want to blame. I think majority of the issues are with us as stakeholders in this sector. Majority of the issues, we can address them. If you all say here that there is no architect that's going to work for unscrupulous developer, there'll be none, right? Zero. There's no architect. If engineer says, I want to work on a project without a registered architect, it's done. But the thing is, you've left for us now to say, now we always look like radicals, but we're just saying normal things. We look like, but we're just saying, no, just get the good registered contractor. So let us play our part. If we play our part in the sector, we'll be good. So I'm hoping this will be another puzzle to make us think. I am a student of Achebe, Chinua Achebe, and I've read all his books. And I am a student of his philosophy. And one of the things that carries all along is something he always says: writers don't give prescriptions, we give headaches. Okay? So that's why a lot of my books and articles are headaches. Because that is our work. We need to make people think better. Lastly, on that thinking better, I talked to a QS, and the president of Quantity Surveyors are here, and I asked the QS, because the client asked me, and I couldn't answer. The first item in the BQ nakwanga, site clearance. Sidio? Clear the site. This site is as clear as it can be. Clear. But the BQ is say, clear site, 120,000. So the client asked me, what are we clearing? I want to understand, what are we clearing? So you can understand, this is a QS that is stuck to the standard method of measurements of doing BQ. Full stop. The first item A has to be site clearance, whether there's clearing or not. So can we go outside the box some of these things? I personally believe that with the technology that we have, a lot of what we cost as provisional sums in BQ can be eliminated. We can begin to predict a lot more so that we have eliminated provisional sum. Because again, that is the area of corruption. You go, oh, foundations has gone up. So why? It was provisional. It was provisional. So we need to think outside the box. If we don't, we were 2.3%, we will fall further. And before we realize, all of us are going to quail eggs and farming because there's nothing to do in this sector anymore. So for those of us that have the privilege of responsibility, and there are a lot of leaders in this room, let us think critically. Let us address the issues that are bedeviling us in this sector. We must deal with the building collapse. Even if it means forming a new body, even if it means, let us propose radical changes. Let us propose. What is the problem? We are the stakeholders. We must deal with building collapse. There is no investor coming to put money in the industry where buildings are collapsing. It's not going to work. We must find a way. We must find a way of completing projects on time. We must find a way. It is just too luxurious with the finance costs that projects are delaying the way they're delaying. We have to find a way of finishing projects on budget. We have to. The auditor reports on public sector projects, you read them, sometimes you say, wow, you think we are a first world country. Delay. The value of stalled projects is at what now? I think it's almost $1 trillion or something, I don't know. It's too much. The solutions, you and I have them in this sector. So, me, I'm looking for someone to write a book on how to stop building collapses. Yeah, and then just propose, scrap this, create a department, create a ministry of building collapse, whatever it is. Let's just find a way. If we need to create a minister in charge of building collapse, let's do it, for heaven's sake, okay? So that we have solutions. I asked this question when I was in QS Symposium, and I asked this. The president asked, and I know the PS is here as a good friend, but I know he will not tell him, because he's my friend. The president has all advisors, gender, economic. Who is the advisor for the head of state on real estate and construction? Do you know? Zero. It's not there. Why? Because that is how we start to influence policy at the higher level. How comes we don't have, okay, there are many advisors, but if we can do with one more. Yeah. We can do with one more. We can do with one more because this sector is so critical. We can do with one more advisor. Yeah. So that we influence policy on higher levels. We'll begin to deal with real matters. So those are the things that as leaders, as those of us with voice, with privileges, we need to amplify our voice. There are certain things we just need to get out. Approvals of counties, I know we've talked about it. Those are things we just need to kick out. You put your drawing in, it needs to come out. Okay? I'm handling a project there, and I'm giving as the last example, with one of a very senior government official in a county, this county of Nairobi. It took 3 months, yes, to get approval. Yeah? I know now my friend Engineer Sharma has put them on toast. They'll be changing. But why can't we get a lasting solution? Kiambu came, governor kicked out online approval. We are now on manual. Yeah? I'm talking, I know there's my classmate who works in Kiambu here. But those are the things. Can we just have a standard system of how we do things? Copy Muranga? That is what gives investors confidence. And then we begin to deal with these things. We cannot have an industry where it takes 5 months to get approvals. So you go 3 months, 2 months county. NEMA by law is 21 days. 21 days if you facilitate. Those are the truths. Okay? It's just you are on a 4 or 5 months waiting for an approval. With the vagaries of a third world economy, it's just impossible to make returns anymore. It's just too risky. These are things we must find solution to. So let's write books, how to do one-stop approval. Give us case study. And then we have an economic construction advisor at the top. That is the only way. If we don't, then, ladies and gentlemen, start buying gumboots and raincoats. We are going to farming. Thank you very much. So let me give my vote of thanks. I don't want to mention names of people here because, you came here as a courtesy of my invitation. And if I mention some, it's going to be a problem. But I'm so grateful that you came, all of you. But allow me to recognize a team here that I've worked with for some time. My mentees, I don't know where they are. The gang, where are you? Please come closer to me here. These are university students and also graduates. So there was no event planner here. There was no event organizer here. Yeah? As a project manager, with this amazing team here, we begin to do this. Okay? So allow me to recognize them because I know they will go unrecognized. So just step here. So this is part of them. There are 30 of them. Only 16 are here. They are in this cohort. They are finishing in the next, they don't want to finish, but they're finishing in the next 1 or 2 months. Yeah. So if there's anyone need to clap, to please clap for this amazing team. So they are engineers here, they are real estate people, they are quantity surveyors, project managers, construction managers, architects, they're all here. So this is the team that helped me put this together. Okay? Give a round of applause as they have their seats. So the leader here is Kevin. He's a student of Technical University doing quantity surveying. He's a very good leader. The future of IQSK. I told him the day he's campaigning, I will put resources. Even if it is a billboard, some years to come. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, team. Also, let me thank Evolution. Mr. Ravi. Mr. Ravi, you can stand. When I was trying to do this event and thinking through what needs to happen, then we had a talk and they said, why not? Why not? So, and then we said, there's no need of an hotel. Let us bring these people here because I know you rarely come here. But if money is disturbing you properly, no, pesa natasumbua. Walk inside here, you'll see what you can do with that money. Beautiful things that are here from Evolution, and that includes Jotun that deals with paint and the Jaguar World product. Thank you so much for hosting us in this wonderful premise. And then allow me to recognize Force Rock, Maureen, where are you? Maureen somewhere. Fostock does waterproofing. Those are our partners as well. Thank you so much for supporting us. And this wonderful event was done by Grace. I don't know where Grace is. Yeah, Grace is at the back there. So Grace does this, and Grace does a lot of my events. Where she is, if she's around, I don't do anything because she works with my wife, who is not here. She's watching somewhere. Hi. So they do all these things. They do all these things plus the mentee. So I think Grasa event does all things. Thank you so much for assisting us with this. The PA people, MJ, Mr. Jackson, we are grateful. We've been streaming, by the way. We're on YouTube Live. And the Oracom group is here, led by Brian. Allow me to thank Claire. Claire is a friend. When I wrote my first book, she's the first one who interviewed me at Citizen. So Claire is a journalist Citizen. If you've listened to Citizen Spaces on Twitter, how many have listened to those spaces? Okay? Or Citizen, a lot of Citizen digital videos. That is the journalist behind Claire Munde. She's doing her book launch next week on Thursday. So we are headed to multimedia next week. But it's called Bounce Back Babes. It's for a beautiful book that you all need to read. Yes, so thank you so much, Claire, for being our MC. I think that should be it. Chief guests, the presidents, AAK, IQSK, WIRE, Byrent Kenya, Miss Liz. Liz Costa is here from the CEO of Byrent Kenya. Thank you so much for coming. We've done a lot of partnership personally with Byrent. Did a lot of work around educating. Guys, thank you very much. I'm grateful. And you will be invited next. But I don't know when. We are back to school as well, attempting to grow knowledge. But definitely, we are not done with educating. We will continue to put articles out and put what we think and people need to read. As my chairman said, my chairman Kakui is here, that there are 10 elements of project management. There are 10. Actually, when I was writing this book, I thought of whether I need to add quality here. Eliminating, so that we could have time, cost, and quality. I really thought with the idea for a long time. It's a story of authors that, actually those are 2 paragraphs written with quality here. But then, I don't like writing long books because if you want to hide anything from Kenyans, put it in a book. So I didn't want to hide it make it too long. My books are always very short. You can read them in 2 days. But there's quality remaining here: scope management, resource management, integration, stakeholder, procurement, communication. There are 8 elements I've not talked about here. That space can be filled by a lot of people so that we can do better. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So let us all play our part in filling that jigsaw puzzle. Now, I want to put this to an end, and I want you to do 3 things. 1, go with your books to Nashon to have them signed personally. 2, this is a networking event, so please feel free to stick around, continue munching on whatever you're biting on, and network with each other. And 3, remember, if pesa inakusumbua, as Nashon said, please head over to Evolution and Style and look at the beautiful sanitary wear that they have in there. As you aspire, or maybe you're already there, you can shop and do something over there. So I would like to bring this event to a close. Thank you so much for attending. It's full house. Thank you for supporting Nashon, and let us continue to work together to make it better. Thank you and good evening. And there's also photo ops, so you can come here. After Nashon has signed, you can take photos with Nashon over here at the front. One last thing, sorry. Somebody has lost their phone. If you have seen a red me anywhere, please take it to the registration desk. Someone has misplaced their phone, but I'm sure it's somewhere around. So take it to the registration desk, please.
The Lord has done it all. I say finally, it's now a testimony. It's now a testimony. Finally, it's now a history. I say it's now a history. Finally, He has done it. What my mama could not do, the Lord has done it. What my papa could not do, the Lord has done it. What my friends could not do, the Lord has